Okay, we are broadcasting. And we're live. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're playing Root, the role-playing game.
Yay!
Yay!
I am Christiana Ellis, and I am the game master for this evening. Our players tonight, Paul Weimer as Arbin Ironwing.
In the immortal words of Lord Michael of House Buffer, let's get ready to rumble!
Nobilis as Lancelot Vint.
Oh dear.
Jason Banks as Clem Sparrow.
Well, guys, it's time to get, like my friend says, oh crap, I think I have too much ale.
David Archambault as Nigel Farnboot.
I'm gonna need to help them.
And Lee Burdett as Peppa Pika.
Oh boy, violence.
So, when last we left our vagabonds, they had spent the better part of an evening at a dive bar by the name of the Broken Paddle Boat. And imbibed some alcoholic beverages. And in Peppa's case, she decided to treat her stomach ache with some tea. Which apparently in this establishment is code for specialized herbal infusions. And she is currently feeling very good. But I apologize, Peppa, but you are, for the current time being, going to be operating under some slightly special rules wherein you have, a -2 penalty to finesse rolls.
Okay.
However, you have an extra 2 exhaustion boxes that you can make use of now, and will have to, when you try to recover exhaustion, you will need to pay off those first.
Okay.
So also in the meantime, you encountered your old friend, the duck captain, Tondrick Brickle, who's a smuggler, who gave you a little bit of information on what happened in the in Iron Vein after you left. Some more information there. You spotted the son of Mirielda, the baker, who it seems is currently very happy having joined the ranks of the Corvid Conspiracy's local young tough guy crowd, and does not seem to be, the poor innocent child who's swept up in things bigger than him. Well, maybe he is, but at the very least, he's currently having fun in that. It makes it somewhat clear that the otter that Nigel had been trying to follow, there had been suspicion that he was involved with the Riverfolk Company. However, he seems to be protected by Corvid Conspiracy, so the mystery deepens there. I'm trying to remember what else happened. You mostly just kind of hung out at the bar.
I got to meet
yes.
an old friend from the dynasty.
Yes. Arbin met Squire Dye, who worked for an allied noble house, who knew who he was and told him that he potentially would have a home in one of these other noble houses if he were to return to the dynasty. But
we also found out that there was dissent amongst the goon squad for
yes.
the mayor.
Yes, the mayor's right hand and left hand goons seem somewhat dissatisfied with their current career opportunities in their present position. You also discovered, I think you determined kind of collectively that perhaps Counter Ernaka, who is the local Riverfolk Company representative, she's in charge of the trading post and also seems to just be a figure of authority with the Riverfolk Company, might actually be someone respectable that you could work with, and there was some talk of discussing things with her that could not be had right now because it's late and she goes to bed early because she's a good girl. But when we finished up, Lancelot had gone off to make some investigations on that front. Nigel had been catching up with everyone, but we left off with Arbin, Clem, and Peppa cornered in an alley where you have a wolf and a badger on one end of the alley, and a beaver and Rhodia, your Blue Jay Corvid conspiracy. You know what? I was going to say frenemy, but she's just an enemy, I think. And yes. In any case, she has clearly helped to organize a bit of an ambush here, and then she points out Clem, telling the beaver, "That's the one." And that's where we left things off. So Nigel, you were about a block away, but you watched your friends go into the alley and then get cut off. So you're seeing this from a distance, but you're not right there. Whereas everyone else is, stuck in this alley. And so I think what happens first here is that the beaver takes a step forward. He looks to you, Clem, and he says, "Now listen, it's obvious that you don't want to go back to Clutcher's Creek, but there's a couple of decisions for you to make right now. And what I'm going to tell you right now, and this goes for your friends too, is come with us. Nobody needs to get hurt. That's not, that's not necessary unless y'all make it necessary. Now, as for the rest of you with this turtle, I think he's probably lied to you about what's going on, and you don't have to be involved in this. Let us take the turtle. We don't have any quarrel with the rest of you."
Clem kind of looks around. What turtle? Do you guys see a turtle? I'm- Well, it seems like you don't know who we are. We're the in team. And to put it bluntly, he just takes out his hammer and lets it kind of flop into his hand. I couldn't remember it before, but it's clobbering time because I'm not going back to get hitched.
So did everybody else hear that part?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's clobbering time.
Well, no, but
To get hit.
I'm not going back to get hitched, is what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why I
okay.
wanted to
Yeah,
make sure that
before.
that
Okay,
part
missed
was.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
blink, 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 blink.
he's talking about a clove hitch, right? The kind you tie to hold something.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's got to be what he's talking about. I'm not there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, I'd like to
Go
make
ahead.
a point that basically as soon as Nigel saw the cornering happen, he started kind of walking intently towards them,
Mhm.
trying not to make too much noise, but definitely to get there quick.
All right. Would you
Hey,
like
you
to?
are the stealthy one.
Yes, I was going to just say, would you like to attempt a roguish feat with your sneak
Yes.
roguish feat?
Yes. And that is 11 plus 2, so that's a
there you go.
13.
Yes, you are able to take advantage of the fact that they are distracted. Their quarry is in the alley. They're not paying attention to you. You're able to just move right up on them. Is basically about as close as you want to get, and they have not noticed you.
Okay. So, yeah. I'm gonna wait for one of them to make the first move, like one of either the ambushers or my team to make the first move
Okay.
before choosing violence.
Sure. So I think that you would not be able to get in a position where your friends can see that you're there without the people on the other side of the alley able to
Okay.
also see you. So if you want to remain hidden, then your friends don't know that you're there either.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just remain hidden for now.
Okay. All right. So so the beaver is just looking at the rest of you and just saying, "So, we can all make this a really easy evening if Mr. Sparrow there will just come with us willingly and go live in the life of luxury that he is apparently not good enough for him.
Wow,
Or
this is
or we can do this the other way, where we're not allowed to hurt him, but we're definitely allowed to hurt you."
Arbin says nothing. He's instead going to study the tactical situation and try to figure out what's the best way to handle this. Should it come to violence, and it's going to come to violence real soon. In other words, I'm going to try to read a tense situation.
Yes. Go ahead and roll with cunning.
That would be a 10.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
So, with a 10 on read a tense situation, you have 3 questions that you can take +1 when acting on the answers. The questions are the typical ones.
Yep. First, find out what's the best way out or through. That's obvious
Okay.
one to ask.
Yeah. So, you know that certainly for you,
But
you
it's
can
up.
fly.
Yeah.
All 3 of these goons, Rhodia accepted, although she's standing back a bit, like she wants to see how this goes, but she looks like she's not currently. Well, I don't know. I guess you don't know. She's standing back a little bit.
Okay.
But the rest of the other 3 of these can't would not be able to follow you with your
Yeah. I mean, Peppa and I can do that. Clem cannot.
right. So that's that's the best way, but that's the best way for you, right?
Yeah.
Now, the probably if you need it to be the best way for all of you, then the beaver is currently by himself on that end, with Rhodia standing back a little bit. And so the other end of the alley has 2 big guys that have effectively blocked the whole opening.
Mhm.
So even though it would mean running towards the beaver and towards where Rhodia is, probably if you were going to charge them, that's a better option than the other way.
They're charging the other way. Okay. What should I be on the lookout for?
I think what you want to be on the lookout for right now is what is Rhodia intending to do, because she seems to be acting indirectly here, but you don't know what she is prepared, like what action she is prepared to take here.
Or yeah.
So I think that she's the wild card right now, because you have these 3 guys who are clearly in doing this, but you don't know whether she is just telling them where you are or something else.
Okay. Peppa will lean over behind Clem's shell and kind of whisper, "If Clem falls down in his shell, we could use him as a battering ram and just
Isn't there,
like push through, I think."
isn't there one more question?
Yeah,
I do have
Arvin
one
does
question,
have
but I haven't decided
Mhm,
which one I want to go with that one yet. So
Yeah.
I'm still holding that question in thought
Mhm.
for
I'm
a
just
moment.
the idea of a Clem sled is just like
Just-
making a happy place in my brain right now.
Does I
Koopa.
just were you quiet enough to where Clem doesn't hear you?
Oh no, I totally want Clem to be on board with this plan.
You should probably ask your next question.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
I'm not saying that
Um,
it's a good plan.
Who was most vulnerable to me? If we're gonna do
Um,
a sled thing, then I gotta need to know who I can knock out.
Yeah,
with the turn sled.
I think by the same token that that it would be the easiest way to get out. The beaver is probably more vulnerable, just in the sense that he does not have an ally right on,
Right on.
right with him. Now he might. You get the sense that he's tough, but so are the other two. So it's the question of like
And there's also
one tough guy
Rhodia.
versus two tough guys.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so then I'll turn to Clem and say, you don't want to go back to be married, do you?
It wasn't my choice. It's an arranged thing that I had no partaking of or choice in the matter. I was enjoying my life of intellectual splendor, and they want to take me back, specifically that one. And he looks past the beaver to Rhodia and goes, "We should have killed her before."
She has kind of just a smirk, kind of
So-
that Marjorie Tyrell smirk from Game of Thrones. You know?
Clem, are you my squire?
Of course.
Then under the feudal rules of the Erie dynasty, if it is your wish not to go back to be married, that is my duty as lord to you as my squire to make that happen. Therefore, you are not going back if you don't want to, and that is the end of the story. I'll look to Peppa. Shell time.
Yeah. Well, so I think you're saying all of that, and the beaver is just kind of like, all right, okay, I guess it's the other way then.
Mhm. Yep.
So I think that he and the other two are starting to advance.
Yes. All this turtle belong to us.
Mhm. For the record, just to remind you all, they are armed, but they're armed with blunt weapons. Like the
Mhm.
beaver has a club, and the other two have sort of long. They look like ship tools. Like it's basically like a long staff that has a metal hook on the end, but it's not like a sharp hook. It's it's for grabbing
it's a-
things usually, but
Yeah.
you could still whack someone pretty good with it.
Clem looks at Peppa and says, "Remember that thing I gave? I wonder what would happen if it rained from the sky." And at that moment, he rushes the beaver.
Okay.
In classic Clem fashion, shell first.
Okay. Well, so I think that is an engage in melee roll. So that is roll with might.
There we go. He is not a mighty turtle, but
Wow.
Yeah, there is a weapon called a boarding pike, which is a spear with a hook on the end that
Yep.
sailors used to use to grab onto stuff in order to board another ship.
That's essentially what we're talking about here.
nice. 9.
Okay, so with a 9, you are able to let's see. You are going to trade harm, and you get to pick one of the following things. You can inflict extra harm, you can suffer little harm, or you can shift your range one step. You're currently to hit them with your shell. That makes you have moved into intimate range. So you could
I'll
move
do
back
extra.
to close range if you wanted. You want to do extra. Okay. So yeah, you are going to do 2 exhaustion, essentially 2 exhaustion harm, although they've got some armor that's going to absorb some of that. And they would have done 1 back to you, except that you chose to take. Wait, no, you did extra, so you need to take 1 exhaustion harm, or like you can use wear on your
Oh,
well, so like your
the shell.
your shell, you can take a box of wear instead of marking exhaustion.
Okay, I'll take the wear then.
Mhm.
So I got
Okay.
lots of that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so as Clem has charged, the other two start to charge in. Nigel, you were sort of waiting back to see
Yes.
what was going to happen. You saw them start to move in slowly, but then Clem just shell slammed
And
the one.
Nigel is going to come out of the shadows, staff in hand, and is going to smack at the beaver.
Okay. So that's going to be engage in melee.
Yes, and that is a 7.
Okay, so with a 7 to 9, you are also going to be in a situation where you are, uh, trading harm, and you
Okay.
get to pick to either do more or suffer less, shift your range one step. You are currently at close range, or impress, dismay, or frighten your foe.
Uh, I'm gonna go with you know, this person probably doesn't look like they're scared of, like they look like they'd have some good
Well,
morale,
sir,
probably,
I
right?
mean, yeah, at present anyway,
Yeah.
they are at least they have at least enough morale that they are attempting to capture somebody with the threat of violence.
Yeah, I think I will go with I'll go with impressed, dismay, or frightened, because
Okay,
a capybara coming out of the shadows.
sure, sure.
Yeah, that's gonna be a
Who knew? Who
disturbing.
knew our studious capybara was also a ninja?
Okay, yeah. So basically, you're going to do one more box of exhaustion harm that is going to be absorbed by their armor, but you're also doing a point of morale harm
Yes.
against them. So, but how are you doing that? Is it just that they're so surprised that you came out of nowhere? Is that
I think it is. Nigel is still staying quiet. He's just stepping up and just whack against the back of the shoulder.
okay?
Yeah.
So it's mostly just the surprise that
Yeah,
they didn't know anyone was
surprise.
there. Okay, okay. So that is Nigel's action. Arbin and Peppa, this wolf and the badger are moving in fast.
Okay. Peppa will launch herself up and rain a Molotov cocktail from the sky.
Okay, okay. So what are you what is the what are you where are you throwing it?
I'm going to target one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just getting some height and then reeling back and letting fly.
Okay. Well, so I mean, don't just say targeting one of them. Like, describe
3.
this. What are you doing?
Um, the wolf looks fuzzier,
Okay.
so he'll light on fire better.
All right.
So
Okay,
That-
so you are targeting someone. Roll with finesse. Don't forget about your current finesse penalty.
yeah,
due to you
so it's
being
only a plus
drugged.
1.
High.
like it's
That is a 7.
Okay, so on a 7, you hit and you inflict injury, and I think the nature of this Molotov cocktail is this was made with your jury rig, correct, Clem? Was that how that was done?
No, I just got to make one because the doctor actually had high
Oh,
grade
right.
alcohol.
So you didn't make a move or anything. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing is that you would have had to light it, right?
Yeah.
I think that you have managed the throw, but we're going to have you roll with luck to see how well
grenade rule.
I should have I should have made it an extra step to light it first is the key. Because
Okay.
how would you have lit it, right? You're not carrying it around.
Yeah.
lit.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I don't have a Zippo. Yeah, I'll go ahead and roll with luck.
Okay, so we'll say that this luck is your attempt to light it with like a match.
Mhm.
while you're doing this whole move.
That's a 13.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah. Well, in that case, then, in that case, you manage to uh, take aloft, and for the moment, it feels to you like everything's happening in slow motion. You get out the matches, and then you throw it down at the wolf, where it blows up and explodes. And the nature of the Molotov cocktail is such that I am going to do um, one injury and one morale to both of them, as they are terrified and alarmed to suddenly be, doused
Engulfed
with
in flames.
fire. Yeah.
And through the flickering flames, you can just see this grin on Peppa's beak, like, yes. She is very,
Pretty
Oh
very.
dear God.
one more for
with-
Peppa.
with
Number-
Peppa's pupils the size of silver dollars.
Yeah.
Number of episodes since something was lit on fire?
Right.
0.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Arbin, what about you? What's your next step here?
I was, until Pepper decided to play aerial bombardier, tried to defend Pepper as we're heading back towards the beaver, but I'm going to
Mhm.
change that slightly, basically play the fighting retreat back towards where Clem is fighting. Now, can I see Nigel now? Did Nigel? Or-
Yeah, I think that when he stepped out of the shadows to whack the beaver with his staff, you see him now.
It's like, as nice as that Molotov cocktail is, it's not going to finish off these two. So I'm basically in defensive backing towards the beaver end of the alley to basically play defense. And
Mhm.
if they come at me, I'm ready to take them down, but I'm not going to turn my backs on these two, not even if they're on fire.
Okay. So you are you're so for now you're just covering.
Yeah, I'm covering. I
Okay.
mean, I would use the guardian move, but there's no one to actually protect because Peppa's in the air at the moment. but
Well, I
that's what
mean,
was
you're
kind of thinking.
protecting, Clem's back, right?
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah,
just
I am
making sure that they would have to come through you to get to him.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I think then at this point, Rhodia is backing off a little bit, but looking furious. Like this is already more out of control than she was hoping that it would be. But,
Not met us before? This is what we do.
well,
We-
it's a question of the capabilities of the people that she's tipped off here. Okay, so I think, in fact, actually, yeah, she's looking concerned, but she has taken a step back rather than towards the conflict at this point. The beaver is going to try to club you, Clem. So this is this is they're coming after you specifically. They're not focused on. Actually, no, I take it back. They're going to try to club Nigel because Nigel's the one that just hit him most recently, and also,
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. What do I need to roll, or is that?
no, it's a question of just like how are you responding, right? So it
Oh.
depends on what you're trying to do.
Well-
Because if you're just going to basically
I am
just
gonna
fight back,
try and
with your
parry.
so that's a that is a it would still be engaged in melee, except wait, is parry
that'd be
is a
finesse.
weapon skill, right?
Step and move. Yeah, that's a move.
Yeah.
That's weapon skill.
So parry, if you have parry on you, as a weapon
Yes.
skill, and on your thing, your staff, then you mark exhaustion and roll with finesse.
Ooh, that's only a 6.
Okay, yeah, and unfortunately,
Wait, yeah, 6. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So unfortunately, you attempt to parry, but the power of his blow is enough that it just kind of you're unable to deflect it, and he clonks you one, and you would take one exhaustion harm,
Ooh.
unless you want to. You can as with Clem, you can, if you have anything that has a, like your robes have one box of
Yeah.
wear, you could absorb with that.
Yeah. So I as the I try and parry, but I doesn't work, and kind of do like this kind of move, and I throw it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. So no, your robe isn't like ruined now,
I
but
know,
it would be
yeah.
if it took another bit of
Yeah.
damage. Okay, great. So in the meantime,
Basically, I marked where.
Sure. Okay, so you scared and burned the wolf and the badger, Peppa, but they're not completely deterred. You said you flew up. Like how? Like where are you right now?
I'm probably like second floor, second story, like 10 feet up, 10,
Okay.
11 feet up.
Remember, you're not hovering here, right? Like this is, you can't just hover anywhere you want to be.
Right.
So you could have like grabbed onto a windowsill or something.
Yeah.
Okay. But in any case, because you are out of direct reach, I think that these two guys are both coming after you together, Arvin.
All right, then I'm going to have to defend against them. Probably storm a group. Possibly it might be the move here, so I'm facing them as a team.
Yeah, I mean you can use
Yeah.
that move. Like that
Yeah,
that
let's-
move obviously takes an exhaustion.
Yeah, but I did take exhaustion boxes as my last
Mhm.
advancement. So yes,
All right.
I think storm a group is what we want to try here.
Okay, so your Storma group is so you mark exhaustion and roll with might.
Yep, might is my good skill,
Mm-hmm.
and we get an 11.
Okay, yeah. So on a hit, you trade harm. On a 10 plus, you're choosing 2. So one of those things that you're choosing from is you show them up, inflict 2 morale harm, or you keep them off balance and confused, inflict 2 exhaustion. You avoid their blows, suffer -1 harm, or you use them against each other, mark exhaustion again, and they inflict their harm against themselves.
I'm gonna use suffer. Oh no, let's play the Keystone Cops approach. I'm going to mark exhaustion again. They inflict
Mhm.
their harm against themselves, and I show them I inflict 2 morale harm. So
Okay,
because they're already a little dismorale by the fire, so maybe I can just break them, and make them run away
Right.
or hurt themselves.
yeah. So because I do still have their stats presently separate, it's going to be 1 on each instead of like 2 to a group,
Yeah.
right? So they each take an additional morale harm. You are going to do basically 1, you're
And I
so
one regular
describe this move as these 2, bruisers with these long hooked poles are coming after you. What's your move?
Well,
here?
I am a bird, and I know how to fight in 3 dimensions. So as they're coming to me with their poles, I'm bouncing off walls, getting them to swing against each other, swinging out with the blue sword, and basically stabbing at them and getting them to actually skewer each other or knock each other with the poles,
Mhm.
bouncing around like a pinball, never at
Okay.
rest.
All right. So, oops, this is okay. So, they manage to clonk each other with this with their poles, and they're impressed and startled at your fancy moves. Okay, Clem, I think probably you're next here.
Since Clem is already in intimate range,
Mhm.
he's gonna smack him with his hammer.
Okay.
Hammer time.
All right.
And that's an 8.
Okay. So that was engage in melee.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would like to mark a box of exhaustion to ignore his armor,
Okay.
and I will choose do extra harm.
Okay.
Mm.
So this is so the hammer. Some of these weapons do exhaustion harm rather than injury harm, and I know that's true with a staff, but I can't
Yeah.
remember if the smithy
Hammer is also blunted.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't have
Yeah.
the
No, but
blunted quality.
it does not. So it
No,
heavy
Okay.
it
bludgeon
has.
and bulky, and so the
Yeah.
heavy bludgeon I think is what lets you
Ignore the
ignore the armor.
armor.
But
So-
but it's doing injury harm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, I think because with you ignoring the armor and and doing extra injury, he is knocked silly. Like he's not unconscious, but he is extremely concussed. He looks like another bit of injury would kill him.
Clem looks at him, and this normally kind of happy-go-lucky, kind of lackadaisical turtle looks at him with a very stern face and says, "You should probably leave and let her deal with this."
So one of the things, because you chose to inflict serious harm with your mixed success, you need to also take a box of exhaustion harm, as he
Okay.
manages to get his club around and smack you a bit with it when you're coming after him with the hammer.
Right. By the way,
Okay.
guys, Clem looks very, very tired. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is yeah, the beaver is in very rough shape too. Like he's looks like he's got some oh, you know what? Hang on. I'm sorry. I added this a little bit wrong because I gave him an injury instead of an exhaustion when Nigel hit him. He's still in very rough shape. I should be clear, but I just mean I added some of his stuff a little wrong. So yeah, he's beat up too, and he is. I think he's looking a little dizzy, and he's yelling. He's like, "Guys, a little hope!"
As he then sees them stab each other.
Okay, so I think at this point, Rhodia, looking angry, flies away.
Good
Ah.
move, Rhodia. Good move.
Okay.
You get to live longer. 'Cause we're not going to let her live too much longer if she keeps messing with us.
Only slightly longer.
Yeah. Well, she'll be back for sweeps week.
Mhm. Okay,
Oh,
so Nigel, what are you doing?
Well, got the badger, or not badger, a beaver, right?
Yeah.
Right in front of me. So
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and try and bonk again.
Bonk the
Okay.
beaver. Not boink boink.
Okay, so once again, that's going to be engage in melee.
Oh, geez, that's only a 5.
Okay, yeah, unfortunately, I think even though he's a little bit wobbly on his feet now, he manages to, once again, he seems pretty strong. And when you go in to try to clonk him, he manages to like reel away and get his club up to hit you. And so that's going to be 1 exhaustion harm to you,
Okay.
which looks like you are in pretty rough
Yeah.
shape too.
Yeah, I am. Nigel is Nigel is very tired. Nigel looks very tired. He's not a fighter.
I think there's a moment here where, for comic effect, we've revealed that this beaver is now kind of wobbly on his feet. His eyes are not quite focused, but he does manage to get in a lucky shot there on Nigel, and now Nigel is in roughly the same condition.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so Peppa, I think you're seeing this happen from above.
Mm-hmm. Um, I have a bow and arrow. I can do something about this. She's going to try and shoot this guy.
Okay. Roll finesse to target someone.
All right.
Oh boy.
Mhm.
I just
That's
have
a
in my
7.
head that
Okay.
she's saying all this out loud. I've got a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
She's high. She's honestly high enough that she's kind of, you can kind of see her. She's kind of listing off the side, and I think once she fires this shot, the recoil on the bow, or the recoil of having to do this, just sends her tumbling off, and so she has to kind of flap to the ground. She loses
Sure.
her perch, basically.
Yeah, so you are going to do one injury harm to him, and I'm just trying to.
Does he have armor? Because if he does, then he can take it on that.
He does, and that's definitely. I'm just actually what I'm trying to remember is what I always forget. But the only way that makes sense is that the rule has to be the same for the PC and the NPC in this regard, which is to say, if they have 3 boxes of injury, they can fill 3 boxes of injury, and then the 4th one would take them out. It's
Mhm.
not that filling the last one takes them out.
Right.
And I was just I always second guess myself when it comes to that rule. But so it has to apply the same way either direction. So
Yep.
Yeah.
so he definitely his armor is kind of falling apart at this point. It's not looking good. I think at this point the wolf and the badger are going to split their attention because they do have these long poles. One of them is going to try to reach up and take a whack at you, Peppa.
Yeah, I think Peppa's on the ground now.
Okay, well, in that case, he doesn't have to reach so high. Yeah. So, what are you doing as this wolf, who's slightly singed, is coming after you with this great big pole?
I'm gonna try and dodge him.
Okay. So, I think in this case, you could potentially call that an acrobatics
Yeah.
roguish feat.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So attempt a roguish feat. Once again, remember when you're rolling finesse, minus 2 compared to normal.
Okay. That was an 8.
Okay. So I think then with acrobatics, where is there we go. So you can either mark a box of exhaustion, or you are going to successfully evade the attack but have some other consequence come into play.
Okay, since I've got these 2 extra boxes of exhaustion, I'm just gonna mark exhaustion.
Sure. Yeah.
I am feeling no pain.
Okay. So is this a bullet time matrix dodge of the swinging pole, or?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Only with all kinds of sparkly colors and things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like have you seen the Mitchells versus the Machines?
Yeah.
With the thing with the Rick Mitchell special. It's kind of like that. It's just like everything stops and then there's a complete and total madness for 5 seconds.
Mhm.
Then we get back to the real time.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, Arbin, the badger is coming at you with his own pole here.
Right, then I guess we can play one-on-one. If he wants to trade blows, I will happily trade blows with the badger. So that's a straight up might roll.
Okay, yeah. Engage in melee.
Engage in melee, again an 8.
Okay.
Didn't roll so well on that one.
Right. So so that means that you're going to trade harm. So he is going to do 1 exhaustion harm to you, and
Yep.
he's going to take 1.
1 injury from me.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, after my pinballing, apparently I got myself a little too cocky, and now this guy's actually giving as good as he gets, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, like you did your fancy move that sort of surprised them, but like that fancy move takes it out of you a little bit.
It
You can't
does.
just be doing that all night.
No, I can't.
You can't do
Sadly.
this all day. Yeah. So
I need a
Okay.
shield.
So let's see. I think probably back to Clem at this point, right? You know, you clonked this this beaver. I think you can tell right now. It's probably up to you with this beaver whether you are like he's on the verge of being knocked out or potentially kill him. So it's a question of like, you know, if you do another bit of harm to him, you could potentially be choosing how it goes, which way it goes.
Clem, by the way, Clem has been looking into the sky since Rhoda left, and then he kind of looks down and goes, "You're still here?" And
I mean,
he
yeah,
will.
you could try to persuade him to abandon this pursuit if you wanted.
He kind of sniffs the air. Seriously, why are you still here? She obviously left you to die here. You know, you could just come with us to talk to your boss, who we work for, and she could be put to death, I guess. Like, you guys kind of are a mom.
Okay, so this is an attempt to persuade an NPC.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be a roll with charm, and the you know the reasonable threat is essentially that otherwise you're going to keep fighting and we might win. So that's kind of where we're at. But you're rolling with charm, although I think some of what you're saying you don't is not you don't know necessarily how all of that is landing.
Wrong. It's fine.
So what did you get? What was the roll?
That's a 3.
Okay.
Oh, ow.
I think there's a moment where you get into that whole little speech and you're just really chewing the scenery, hamming up like she just left you to die. And as you are gesturing up into the
To the
sky,
empty sky.
looking away from him, he clocks you with his club. So take one more exhaustion harm or box of wear as you like.
I will take the wear.
Okay. Yeah. So Nigel.
Well, since it seems like this person is not going to flee.
I also I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to also just briefly do a rewind where we see that whole little speech from outside Clem's POV, and he's just slurring like crazy. He's like, "She left you to die, and you can just leave."
Boom!
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. Why? I mean, why are you here? Why are we all here?
Right. So,
Oh,
Nigel.
God.
Those are some good questions, Clem. An 8.
Okay, this is to just continue to engage in melee.
Yes.
Okay, so that means an 8 is you're gonna trade harm, but you are able to choose one. So that's suffer little harm, inflict serious harm, shift your range 1 step, impress, dismay, or frighten your foe.
I am going to take little harm. So hopefully
that's
I will
good
not
because
pass out.
I don't think you have the capacity to take even one more harm at this point.
No.
But you do one more harm to him, and he is, like, I was a little premature earlier when I was making it sound like it was, he was that threshold, but it's because I had added the injury and exhaustion wrong. So, but nonetheless, he just filled his last exhaustion box. Cannot take any more of that. Is the point.
So I imagine basically do that, and as he's pulling back his club, Nigel's just does another good crack to the back of his
and he's definitely like wobbling now, holding his head. You can see he's like maybe on the verge of passing out.
And when he tries to swing back in order to get me off him, just kind of pull staff up to deflect it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we cut across town, and Lancelot is sitting in a very comfortable little pub, drinking an ale with Bronwyn, complimenting her on her savvy with gossip. Cut back.
Yes.
It's literally like a Guy Ritchie.
Mhm. All right, so let's see. Probably let's. I think right now we've got Peppa versus the wolf, Arbin versus the badger, Nigel and Clem versus the beaver. Rhodia has flown away. Arbin, what are you doing?
I'm gonna keep playing fight the badger.
All right, once again, engage in melee.
When
It's your-
engaging major, let's hopefully do better this time, and that is an 11. So I think that is a
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, that certainly is better. So you are able to pick 3 from the list of inflict serious harm, suffer little harm, shift your range, or impress, dismay, or frighten your foe.
I will inflict serious, take little, and impress or dismay them.
Okay.
Them.
Okay. I think. Yeah. Okay. So you think that like they're bleeding pretty bad now. So you did you impress. You're doing more, taking little, and impress, dismay. So
Yep.
he takes 2 injury, 1 morale. He's pretty badly injured now. You could he's on the verge of can't take much more of that. Also looking a little bit like his armor's messed up. This is not this is not going the way
Reassess
they
your
were
life
hoping it was going to
choices.
go. Yeah. But you can see that like he right now, at least in his face, you don't think he's going to just run away from his buddies.
Yeah, and
right?
I'm not the speaker of the group anyway. I'll just let my sword do the talking.
All right. What about you, Peppa?
Okay. Well, I got this nifty little punch dagger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
stabby stab.
yeah, stabby stab. I think what I'd like to do,
hmm
and oh god, this is going to be
So
bad
bear in
if I
mind,
fail.
you have been at close range with
Mhm.
with the wolf previously, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if the dagger has. I think it does
It's
have
intimate.
it's intimate only, right?
Yeah, it's intimate only. My trick bow does have close and far.
Right. Yeah. So I think that you would have to close the distance
Right.
to get to intimate range because he's keeping you at bay
So-
with a big pole right now.
Right.
But if you did get to intimate range, that would be an advantage because then his weapon wouldn't be usable.
Right. So here's my thought. I want to use parkour
Okay.
to get into intimate range with him.
Yep.
Use blindside with my
Thought-
punch dagger.
Thought
And then
blindside was only if you're from stealth.
Yeah. So
think it doesn't
blindside.
say.
Blindside. Yeah. Let's see. It is implied that it. Well, so what we can say though is that the parkour could allow her to get behind him, right?
Okay.
And like she gets into position where it's like a backstab, right? She is
Okay.
just dodged around him. But what we're requiring in order to do that is an additional move, right? So it's not
Right.
just trivial. So
Yeah.
you have your parkour move, which is when you are dashing your way through a chaotic scene or fight, roll with finesse.
Yep. Fingers crossed.
I'm just imagining this bird like flitting from one perch to another.
Max
Okay.
13.
Whoa.
So
Wow. Roll
even-
double sixes there, huh?
I double sixes plus 1
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
instead of double sixes plus 3.
Right. So that actually means you have 3 hold, and you can use 1 for 1. So to dash to something within sight and reach without being stopped, to dash away from something nearby without being stopped, and then you can dash away from an enemy even at the moment that they attack. So in theory, we could have, for example, when you did acrobatics before, that might have been we could have
Mhm.
done this move instead. just as
Right.
a reminder for both of us.
Wow. So you've got 3 holds. You can use one to attack him right away. And then when he
Yeah.
counterattacks, use another to
You can
not,
use
not
one
be
to
there.
get into intimate range, and if you still
Mhm.
want to use the blind side move, that's going to be
Another roll.
another roll. That's the
Yeah.
attempt to roguish feat.
Right. That's what I want to do is I want to use one of my holds to get into intimate range.
Mm-hmm.
Then because the other way the punch dagger is a might weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And let me double check. I do have +1 might. So I could just roll it as regular.
Yeah. Well, no. So if you're doing blindside, the benefit of that is you're doing attempt to roguish feat rather than engage in melee.
Right.
Right. So that means you can use finesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
But they're both +1
now-
right now, so it
Right.
doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, let me just roll for blindside and see what comes up.
Okay.
And that is a 7.
All right. So what that means is that you're going to manage to get your attack off, but there is a consequence to it unless you want to spend another exhaustion.
Hey, I can spend another exhaustion. I've got extra.
Yeah.
So-
Okay.
You're gonna crash so
All
hard.
right. So hang on. Let me
Well,
double
that's why
check.
I've got a turtle. I can just ride around on his back. I'm just a tiny
Right.
bird.
Okay. So I'm just double checking some of the tags for that one. Let's see. So you've got that one has got vicious
Didn't-
strike.
Punch through.
Well, let's see. I'm trying
Does
to.
it not have blindside? I thought it also had blindside.
Well, blindside is a roguish feat, not a
Yeah.
weapon move.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but so with the weapon moves, vicious strike is that if you. Oh, you know what? Okay, vicious strike is a weapon move that you can do.
Uh-huh.
So if you're doing blindside, that's a different move, and you're not doing the vicious strike,
Right.
right? Punch through, I think, is probably similar.
Punch through is mark exhaustion when dealing harm at intimate range to ignore your enemy's armor.
Okay. So you can do that if you want to mark another exhaustion.
Okay.
Okay. To ignore armor, and then you would be doing. Yeah. So your blind side. Sorry, this is a complicated move that we've set up here for you.
Mhm.
Okay. Blind side. Okay, hang on.
Doesn't give any numbers for blindside.
Well, I'm looking up some of the descriptions for how it describes it in more detail. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, so I think in this context, you are able to ignore the armor,
Mm-hmm.
and wow. Okay. I'm not finding this where I thought I was going to find it, but okay, there we go. So yeah, so you are. Yeah. Okay. So essentially, what you've got here is, because you have the ability to ignore the armor, and so the blind side essentially is you're gonna take him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that describe then how you do a fancy little flip, get in tight with this fancy dagger, and kill this guy.
I think that's basically just what happens is that, dash in close, get up under, and get in where he's vulnerable and hurting from the fire. Punch through through his armor, and down he goes.
Mm-hmm.
You hear Pippa say, the left lumbar down. The sweet. And suddenly has weird reflective eyes. Like,
Yeah.
And Peppa's going to catch up to me and people killed in this
All
game.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think then that the I think at this point you're the okay, yeah. So you've got this dagger, you know, punched through the piercing, and he's now bleeding badly and sort of sags against the wall in the alley here and just slides down to the ground.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Thank you, Nate.
yeah. I think that the wolf is enraged, but he's in rough shape too. The what about the? So this is a question here too, though, of like, the last time this situation happened, you weren't in the middle of a town. You were able to kind of just hide the evidence and run away.
Mhm.
So, Clem, Nigel, what are you guys doing?
I'll let Clem go. I mean,
Clem. Let's see. To Clem, he tried to be reasonable. He tried to plead with this guy logically that he should not be here. It wasn't Clem's fault that it came out like,
Well,
okay.
whose fault is that then, huh?
well,
Who's to say if it was, Clem's fault or the third or fourth drink he got from his buddy?
blame it on the alcohol.
Oh, so
Alcohol.
yeah.
Yeah. The night's a blur.
Sure. In any case.
So Clem is going to smack this guy with his hammer one more time and
All right.
try to knock him out. He's
Yeah.
gonna kill him.
Okay.
Because he has plans. He has plans for this
Okay.
unconscious
So
beater.
so you're using your hammer, but the attempt is to knock out rather than kill.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's a 7.
Okay. So that means that's going to be one more exhaustion harm for you as he gets one more blow in.
And I'll take that with my last wear.
Okay, and he manages to get that whack in. Your shell is now kind of in rough shape. I think a lot of your internal shelves and structures and everything are definitely like all over the place now. Everything's disorganized in the wrong places. Your little fancy little divider where all your different sized nuts and bolts, they're just all higgledy-piggledy. But the beaver's eyes roll back in his head and he just lands flat back on his back, right on top of his big wide flat tail.
Clem hears something breaks in his shell. I swear it's going to take me forever to clean that up.
Okay. So I think Arbin, the wolf sees, or rather, excuse me, the badger sees his buddy the wolf go down, and then sees the beaver go down, and he looks like infuriated, but he looks like he's gonna run. But I will encourage you to do a figure someone out roll here.
Okay, that is the stat for that is again
Charm.
Yeah. So I'm not good at, but yeah. So I got a whopping 3.
Okay. Yeah. He is outmatched. He's running away.
Fare thee well. You can run. I'm not pursuing. I'm going to see how my companions are doing.
Okay. All right. So, yes, the badger has fled into the night. The beaver is unconscious, obviously, and you can see that the wolf is slumped against the side of the alley. He is not moving. Big pile of blood coming out of his belly.
Yes.
Looks like,
I think we should depart quickly.
yes. What are we going to do with this one since he's still alive?
I say we take him back to his boss.
You know who his boss
Says-
is?
Well,
He sounded like he was Riverfolk Company, not Corvid Conspiracy.
Yeah.
Rhodia just set us up to be in trouble.
Do we, and can I look to see if there's like a insignia of any ship or anything?
On the beaver.
Yes.
As you are kind of rifling through his stuff, you do see some paperwork that indicates a ship named the Lazy Lizard.
Ah. Okay. Oh, looks like he came from the Lazy Lizard. Wait,
does Clem know that one?
I think not particularly.
okay. I'm trying to remember what the one that was mentioned last year or last time was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is
Uh,
not one that you've encountered before.
Speedy
Yeah.
Trout. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we don't know who this beaver belongs to, just let him recover here on his own with his
We
wolf
can.
buddy.
We actually do. We can at least bring him down to the docks and dump him off there.
We
Separate
need to
him
find
from-
Lancelot first.
Yeah.
Wait. Didn't Lancelot go to find the river folk?
No, he went to talk to
Uh,
Bronwyn.
He went on to talk to Bronwyn. Yeah.
Or I thought he said he was going to try to find the. Oh no, he decided not to because he went to bed early.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The
but
counter
if
is
we-
already asleep.
But if we
basically.
bring the beaver to the Riverfolk Company, we're making a statement. Do we want to make that statement?
Well, if
It's
we're
a choi-
going
it's a-
to,
It's a choice.
if we're
I
not
say
going
we-
to do that, then we should at least move the body so that there's some.
I think all of you start to become aware of what sounds like the shouts of a large crowd moving in your direction.
All right. So I think that might be our good.
Never mind. Perhaps
Let's
we should-
let us leave with
Yeah.
dispatch.
Time to the skedaddle.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say, Lancelot, that let's imagine that you are just emerging from this little pub where you'd been talking with Bronwyn, when all of a sudden what you are aware of is that there seems to be a small mob that seems to be heading, like away from where you currently are, passing by, but you hear people shouting to each other, like, "Wait, what's happening? There's a bunch of vagabonds murdered somebody."
Okay, I will follow the mob.
Okay.
Being a vagabond, I'm going to try not to attract attention.
Walk casual. Walk casual.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely want to see what's going on with it.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure this if it's like, is this a mob that's like spreading through the streets and trying and hunting, or are they like chasing?
It's not that organized yet. Basically, I think what I want to so this is an extremely awful reference to use, but it's the one that came immediately to mind because I just watched the 1940s version of Oliver Twist today, and one of the things that surprised me in it is how quick just random passerby were willing to be wrapped up in a mob because, like, they heard somebody killed somebody. Now we're a mob that we're going to hunt down this person, and it's like, okay, just people on the street decide to join in with that, I guess.
That's, yeah, when you don't have a constabulary, a professional police force, that does happen.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
essentially, I think the impression that you would have, probably having encountered similar things before,
Yeah,
is essentially you would imagine this is the sort of crowd that results from someone burst into a crowded place and said, "There's been a murder. Come follow me."
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I'm going to yeah, I think I'm going to like, rather than trying to follow them without being seen, I'm going to like try to be like, pretend to be part of the mob.
Mhm.
Yeah, where are they? Let's go get them.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Uh,
I think at least right now you have no difficulty doing that.
yeah, so I'm gonna keep an eye out for my friends because they were either the ones murdered or the murderers. It's one or the other. So either way, I want to find them.
Mhm. So I think in the meantime, then we're back with the other four of you who are hearing a bunch of like approaching shouts, and you realize that is approximately from the direction that Rhodia flew off in.
Yeah, of course.
Ah. Yes, okay, running is the right thing to do in my opinion.
Maybe even splitting up.
Can you carry the beaver, Nigel?
I don't think we can't take the
No,
beaver.
we leave the beaver here.
We leave the beaver.
But if he then says we murdered his friend, we have no way to defend ourselves.
Yeah, but how fast can we carry a body? We'll be sitting ducks.
Especially since all of you are pretty exhausted.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
did they come from the direction of the docks, kind of? Sort of?
Yeah, maybe more or less.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. You're getting a lot of cheering on from the chat, suggesting toss him in the river.
That was actually what I was thinking about with the beaver and the body is to just grab them and haul them down to the.
I mean,
river.
an unconscious, beat up person, concussed already. I mean, if you're gonna toss him in the river, you might as well just stab him where he is.
Yeah. That is a death sentence.
I mean, it's
it's
up to you. These guys were the aggressors. I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
Yeah, throwing the body in the river, that makes sense.
Here's the point, though, is that whatever you're going to do needs to happen right now.
But I mean,
Yep.
Nigel's instinct is to run to get someplace.
Arbin and I will dump the body in the river. You guys go get our stuff from the hotel.
Okay.
How about that?
That makes sense. That's a good division of labor. Let's go with that.
We'll meet you at the hotel.
Okay, so we've got Clem and Nigel returning to the hotel, which I think is it's in the opposite direction from where the crowd noise is coming from. And so I think for now you have time to just go ahead and move in that direction without it being, a difficult role in any way. But so Arbin and Peppa, though, you've got the dead wolf and the unconscious beaver.
Let's leave the beaver, take the wolf.
Okay, I thought it was the other way around. Is what you wanted?
No. By the body. Correct me if I'm
disposal.
wrong. Body disposal, not unconscious disposal. Body disposal.
Okay, the wolf is bigger.
Wolf is bigger, but we're getting rid of the evidence.
Okay. you what? How are you picking up this guy?
Somebody gets his head, somebody gets his feet, and we trot on right along.
Okay. So I think that the two of you together, I think let's have Arbin make a might roll, and Peppa can help.
Okay.
Well, let's have you make the roll and see if the help is useful here, because you will have to mark exhaustion to help Peppa.
That is a 12.
Yeah. Okay. Peppa, I'm only seeing 1 out of 5 exhaustion on your. Oh, because you had the extra that you just started with, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I took those first, and so now I have the one the one that I used.
Peppa, I think you are all prepared to, you get his shoulders, I'll get his feet, but then Arbin just up on his shoulder.
I have a might of +3. It helps these rolls.
You are leaving behind a big pool of blood.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so what's next?
We're gonna get to the river and immerse and give the wolf a Hope River Burial.
Okay. So Peppa has some spare parkour, but that's not going to help you, Arvin.
No.
I think in this context, the only thing that makes sense is a trust fate. See
Oh,
if you can
God.
get through without being spotted.
Okay, this is not my stat. And that is a
And if
4.
A 4.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have a -1 on luck, guys.
Yeah. I think what happens is that the two of you come out of the alley and realize that you have just emerged into you emerge into an area that's all dark and shadowy, only to have some shutters immediately over your head open and put both of
Bathe
you
you
into
in
full
firelight.
full light. At which point you also look down and see that the crowd that is heading this direction about a block of the way has just seen the two of you, you holding a body over your shoulder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah,
Uh,
no plausible deniability. Now, I would like to make a trust fate roll to be there
Okay, well, so you are in the you are in the
in that
mob.
group.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So I in fact I won't even make you make trust fate to just be there present when this happens, because you joined the
Okay.
group.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
what would you? How would you like to? You're like, I leave you all for 5 minutes.
No. I am completely unsurprised
Mm,
that the accusation that they murdered somebody is true.
mm.
But I completely expected this to happen. So I am prepared to to immediately shout, Arbin, Peppa, you found the body. Who killed him? And try to steer things in the direction of their part of they are
Yeah.
they are
We were carrying it to the doctor. I'm getting where you're going.
So,
Yeah,
so
the
I think
beaver.
this is an
the
excellent
badger.
opportunity,
The
I
ba-
think,
no,
for you
beaver.
to use your
Beaver's unconscious
orator.
though.
Well,
Yes,
hang on.
yes.
Let's cut the crosstalk.
Sorry.
This is an excellent opportunity
Right.
for Lancelot to use his orator role. When you give a
Yes.
speech to interested denizens of a clearing, say what you are motivating them to do and roll with charm. So I think you call
Yeah.
that out, but then let's do the roll and see how that goes.
Yeah, I rolled an 11 plus 3 is 14.
Nice. Okay,
So-
so
Okay.
let's. So you
I
call
can-
that out, but then I need you to spin this into what are you telling the rest of the crowd who are seeing strangers carrying a body?
Yeah, I basically what I'm doing is I'm not telling them something. I am just assuming that these are the noble defenders of the common man that we
Mhm.
know them to be, and that they have discovered this murder,
Hmm.
and that and I'm going to kind of push through to the front of the crowd and ask them what it was that they saw, and you know something, if they're playing along, they can probably put this on Rhodia.
What I would like to suggest here, especially since you rolled so well,
Yeah,
is that you anticipate that Peppa and Arbin aren't necessarily the smoothest in these sorts of circumstances.
no, yeah. So
And
I'm
so I
really
think-
kind of
I think that you think that it is in everyone's best interest here for you to go ahead and just intuit, finger quotes,
yes,
what must
yes.
be true, and to tell the crowd what's
yes.
obvious
That is
about
exactly
this situation.
what I'm
Yeah.
going to do.
Yeah.
I don't at this moment feel as charming as Lancelot,
Okay.
so I would like to kind of elide that part personally.
Okay.
But yes, it's that dastardly Rhodia.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
so I think what perhaps you launch into there, if I may offer suggest some details.
Mhm. Yeah.
is you just say, Arbin, Peppa, wonderful. It would appear that my friends have found the victim and are taking him to the infirmary right now, just in case he can be saved.
Yes. Yes.
All of you, come with me as we search for the killer. And lead
Well,
them,
actu-
go to lead them in.
Yes. Actually, though, I want, because of the holds, I want to, I wanted the holds I want to take,
Mhm.
the options I want to take are, they don't try to take your intent too far, and they
Mhm.
don't demand you to stand at their head and lead.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
am in fact going to accompany them to the doctor,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
uh
So you definitely
yeah,
do. Everyone, check and like point in some opposite direction
yeah,
to
yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of say, we've got to spread out and find the killer.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And
Find them.
And they are disorganized and confused enough, and you are persuasive enough in your calm, authoritative manner
yes,
that you are able to basically just persuade everyone that, like, oh yes, well, of course, I mean, clearly this
yeah,
handsome fox must know what's going on.
yes.
Look, he has a banjo. He's so trustworthy.
Yeah.
I
More
mean,
trustworthy than a
Yeah.
fox.
really, that doesn't this I can't fault that logic at all.
Mhm. So I think just having someone kind of tell them what's going on channels
Right.
their random
Yeah.
aggression.
Mm-hmm.
um
Yeah, and I certainly don't want them to keep going if there's any kind of resistance.
yeah.
So I do not want to pick the don't disband it for
Well,
sign of
and
it.
yeah, I think that you will definitely also probably lead into like hurrying over there and managing to just do a little bit of like bumping the the wolf's arm to just say, oh, looks like he can still make it if we get there in time.
Yeah, right. So yeah, and as we hurry off,
Yeah.
I yeah, I don't know the whole story yet,
Yeah.
but
So I
yeah.
think Arbin and Peppa, I think that there's a moment there where you half believe that Lancelot would have said it. Like, so there's a moment where you're saying, oh yeah, I mean, we better
Yeah,
hurry to the
absolutely.
Like, you
infirmary.
get to the doctor, yeah. Sure.
And then it's just
Go.
as you're starting to kind of lead the other way and the crowd sort of filters into these adjoining alleys, there'll be the moment of like, oh wait.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so as we kind of evade the mob and head in the direction of
Mhm.
to the doctor, um,
The doctor.
yeah, yeah.
Doctor.
um, I am going to be. It's like, what? How did you get a mob after you?
Rhodia.
Aha.
Also, Clem is very, very opposed to being married.
I
And
see.
apparently, the Riverboat Company is very, very opposed to him not being married.
Aha.
So
Okay.
that's that whole thing.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure that part out.
Just for
Right.
my own amusement, and because it would have been more recent for you than it was like for the characters than for the players, I'll remind you that what the previous group said when they were coming to try to take Clem was the Riverfolk Company doesn't take kindly to people who don't live up to their commitments.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's true. Yes, now we know the commitment. I jumped to the island of wrong conclusions back then for sure.
Yeah, I kind of suspected that was what that was actually. So
Oh.
it wasn't. But
All right
yeah,
then.
no,
Well.
it's
So
It is
so
what
where's
it
the
is.
run? I assume that we are now skipping town as usual.
yeah. Clem and Nigel
Again.
are back at the hotel.
Okay, and so our plan originally was going to be to take a riverboat downstream to Sundell. I guess that's out of the question at this point. So which way are we going when we leave town?
I
I
I
mean,
don't
mean,
know.
I mean, it's not necessarily out of the realm of possibility that you could take a riverboat, but it would certainly require some degree of uh, delicacy, I guess. Um, so first of all, though, you've still got a dead wolf on your
Yep,
shoulder,
we still have a
right?
dead wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So where are we going to dispose of this body?
We were thinking the river.
Okay, fine. Let's go to the most downstream part of it, angle that way so it doesn't end up floating past riverboats.
Yeah,
That would be bad.
that would be bad.
Mhm,
So we're gonna head to like that where the edge of town meets the river on the
mhm.
downstream side. I assume the river flows north to south.
Yeah.
That's kind of always been my impression.
Well,
So
it
that's
certainly does here in
Yeah.
Pinehorn.
yeah. So that's where we're gonna
Okay.
head.
Yeah. So let's get
Um,
another trust fate roll, although you can use Lancelot's luck now.
I think Lancelot's luck is much better than mine.
Yeah, okay. Well, these dice occasionally betray me.
Mhm.
But I rolled an 8, which plus 2 is a 10. So
Okay. I am going to give you I guess a choice, a door number 1 and a
Okay.
door number 2.
okay.
Would you rather have no one see you or have someone see you who would potentially be helpful?
Oh God.
I could
It's
choose
I-
between you, I suppose.
I think this is a serious enough situation in which no one sees us.
Okay.
So do I need
Just
to
as
like
well
mark
then that
exhaustion?
I'll allow strong hits to just ride and make GM moves otherwise.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think that you managed to stick to the shadows well enough. Everyone who's kind of out and about and paying attention has already been pulled into the other mob. No one sees you as you make your way to So
To our-
you're
to-
going to where there's no docks, right? You're just to where
Right,
you're just
yeah,
dragging
yeah.
him down to the riverbank and sort of setting him adrift.
Yeah. Well, there's the option of putting something in his clothes that'll float, so he floats downriver, or putting something in his clothes that'll sink so that he's pulled to the bottom.
Hmm.
What do you think, guys?
Let him float away. Yeah, if we can find something and make him buoyant, let him float away. That harder.
I mean, it is the middle of the night.
If he,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if he floats, there's a degree of luck there in the sense of like you don't necessarily control where he goes other than the general current. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it also makes if you're lucky and he goes far away, he would be far away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah. You know what? I think we want to check to see if he's got anything worth keeping.
Yeah.
Well, I think he had that big pole, but you probably didn't bring that with you.
No.
when you grabbed
no.
him out of the
that's-
alley. He has some ruined armor.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
I
will make him nice and not buoyant.
yes.
Yeah.
I think he had some paperwork on him, including a wanted poster for Clem.
Mhm.
Okay.
That
Alright.
is a little bit singed now.
Yep. I
And,
think it's a pretty good likeness, actually. They really caught your good side on this.
Well,
one.
and it depicts specifically too the pattern on his shell as well, which is
yeah.
distinctive.
You got to do something about that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So in any case, though, I think that, well, you know what? Let's say he has miscellaneous goods equivalent to 2 boxes of complete depletion.
Okay. If anybody is in need, we can recover
have-
that.
I have 2 depletion.
Yeah, I'm not depleted, so
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
you
not
have-
either.
Oh, then I'll take it and just make it to
Alright.
0. Simple and easy.
Yeah. So it's just like, miscellaneous things like, he's got a
pause. Yeah,
canteen and a
ball of twine.
bottle. Yeah.
Bric-a-brac.
Mhm. All right. So that's one of the great things about just the depletion mechanic in here is that I don't necessarily always have to think about like, what does this guy have in his pockets when he goes to kidnap someone?
Yeah.
Um, I'm just suddenly flashing on Doctor Strangelove, and the soldier at the end is like, "You don't think I'm going to combat with loose change in my pockets?" Um. Anyway, I love that movie. So, okay. Meantime, in the meantime, while that's happening, wait. So you set him afloat is what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you using as this buoyance, or you're just
Um,
relying on him to float naturally?
um,
I think he's going to sink with the armor pretty quickly.
Well, the
so that's
armor is
one-
not like it's not like chainmail. It's
Oh, okay.
leather
So it's
armor.
just it's like the jack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. If we're unobserved, I'm going to take his trousers,
Hmm.
tie knots in the bottoms of the trousers, get them wet so that they're fairly
Hmm.
airtight, and then just make a
Do the
scoop
little
up air in it.
life preserver.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then hang him over them so that they're like a pair of water wings as they carry him
Okay.
downstream.
And then you just kind of try to push him out into the center of the river a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Push him out of
It's a
ways.
wide river at this point, right? Like we've
Mhm.
established, it's it's not like the other coast. The other side of the river, the other bank is just right there. It's it's
Yeah,
a wide
it's-
river, but
It's a wide river. Yeah.
shove him out into the current a little bit, and
Yeah.
go ahead and do another trust fate roll.
Okay. And maybe we even don't know what the result of all this is.
Oh, and
because-
remind me, so I inherently was imagining that you went north to the north side of town, but that would literally make him flow right past the docks.
Yeah,
but
no, yeah, it was the south side of
yeah,
town.
South
okay.
side.
So that's why I wanted to
Yeah,
clarify, because
yeah. Yeah.
the way I had been imagining it makes no sense. So
Yeah, south side.
okay,
Yep.
so
And I rolled a 9 plus 2 is
okay,
11.
yeah.
So.
So it seems to work. He is carried off into the night. All right. In the meantime,
For all that we encounter people who deserve it, killing people has consequences.
Trying to steal our turtle also has consequences.
Okay, fair enough.
in the meantime, Clem and Nigel, I think you've made your way back to the hotel without difficulty. Although I think you're starting, there's a little bit of a sense, an energy in the air of like, I heard some shouting over there. What's going on? That sort of thing. But I think as you are getting your stuff together, Nigel, make a cunning roll.
That would be 9.
A 9. Clem, do you have an exhaustion point that you could use to help there? No, you're pretty full up, aren't you? Never mind. You know what? I'll just give it to you. Just as a potential thing, Nigel, I think you realize that in that list of smuggling locations and drops and stuff like that, it kind of connects to you that when you that there is a pickup tonight south of town.
Oh, that's convenient.
And so it's the sort of thing where that is potentially, I'll let you just do what you want with that. But given that you were talking about getting a boat out of town, and that is potentially dangerous at this point, because you would have to be dealing with various people, some of whom might be alerted to be looking for you or something to that effect. But
Okay.
you know that there should be a Riverfolk Company ship which is already engaging in smuggling that would be, picking up some smuggled goods south of town tonight.
So yeah, I'd be like, gathering up my stuff and then just like and stop for a second and say, Clem, that's smuggling list. There's I believe there's supposed to be a pickup nearby. perhaps that's the way we can get a ship out of town.
If that's true, then the question becomes how we're going to get that ship. We either steal it or talk our way on board.
Well, if we can find
You've
a
got the papers though that would be valuable to the Riverfolk Company as so you can like, here, we found this. You might be interested. Hey, how about
well, I
how
think
about-
if we can get Lancelot with us, we could probably talk our way on, especially with those papers.
You know, his banjo, and these papers might be the trick.
It's nothing's more trusty than a fox with a banjo.
All right,
So- so
we
Arbin,
will.
Yes.
when you split up with Clem and Nigel, you set up a rendezvous point. Where'd you set that up for?
Oh, I guess ex post facto, we were probably met somewhere near you guys were going to the hotel to get our stuff. We were probably going to meet.
No, what you specifically said was we'll meet you at the hotel.
Yeah, we met at the hotel. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
we did
okay.
say that.
Well, at least we're not carrying a body now, so that'll make it a little easier.
You definitely have
Yeah.
blood on your
Yeah.
shoulder, Arbin.
Of course.
Mhm.
Well, fortunately, there is this wonderful river source just right there.
Well,
Or
yeah, but
water
it's
source.
also they call it a blood stain for a reason.
Yeah, but cold water, man.
Dropping bubbles.
All right. Well, we'll do our best to disguise that and then head to the hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, alternately, you wouldn't necessarily all need to go. You could send one of you with,
Yeah.
I could go and
Yeah, you
bring him back.
Yeah.
could
Fly
fly
there,
and
bring them back.
Bring them back
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
And
Also,
I'm actually gonna point to, because they got the woods nearby, point to a large tree a bit away from the river and say, we'll meet you over there.
Okay.
As a spot that's, because one of the things about riverbanks is that they are still, open to anybody who's on the river. So,
Right.
yeah. So yeah, that's where we'll meet them.
Okay.
So I'm wondering with Peppa's
Is Peppa still
state of mind.
Technicolor?
Oh yeah.
Great. So we're sending the one whose perceptions are altered to go be the messenger.
Mhm.
Great. Okay.
Well, with Peppa's state of mind, is she going to how curving is her path going to be to get to the end?
Well, I think in this case we're still reflecting that with the lower finesse skill. So, my
Okay.
guess, Peppa, you would be attempting to get there, like quietly without being observed,
Mhm.
right? So let's get a sneak roguish feat.
Okay. Do-do-do-do. That's a 10.
Okay, there you go. So yeah,
See,
you are-
even impaired, I'm doing pretty good. Just
Um,
kind of humming my own theme song under my breath.
Well, but I was just imagining the scene from The Big Lebowski where he's flying across LA and it's like da 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 da.
Yeah, you see, I was imagining Kronk humming
yeah.
his theme song as he sneaks along.
I think it's definitely more crunk.
All right. So in any case, if I may, Nigel and Clem, I think you are in your room, having a conversation about what should happen next. When all of a sudden the window shutters sort of slam open and Peppa just like tumbles into the room.
Hi!
Oh, okay, not how I expected. Any of you to answer? Is something wrong?
Tell everybody I stuck that landing.
And just kind of pick her up by the shoulder, or at least help her up to her feet. And
Okay.
so,
We're
where are the
meeting?
others?
We're meeting, and she'll kind of
Yeah.
motion him in close.
Yep. Yes.
We're meeting them by the river, and she'll just like right in his ear. Very poor volume control.
Okay. Message received.
We should go. We should go.
Yes.
You know, Lee, for someone who probably has not been impaired that much, you're doing a great job of depicting it.
And I think Nigel will kind of just, go like, arms around my two friends and just kind of, mosey out. Just like,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Here we
Stefan.
come, walk down the street, get the funniest looks from. Hey, we're the in team.
People
Well,
say we gotta
say-
see him around.
And basically be like having a jolly good night, just maybe wondering about the sound, but otherwise it doesn't seem to bother us, so we're just walking around.
Mhm.
With our stuff on our backs, and Nigel's stuff, and well, Clem always has his stuff.
I think it's
Well,
time
we
we
could-
moved on. This town's too violent.
You
so-
know, I heard someone got killed.
That's just a vicious rumor.
Well, to be sure, I think Peppa, if you share the whole, I think probably all of you are aware that you've been very successful in terms of managing to evade this whole investigation so far, but probably it's not going to hold up as an alibi.
Yeah.
Um,
So
But, at the same time, obviously, to the extent that people find out what quote unquote really happened, that's, it's a little bit more of a complex story to begin with, right?
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
But,
The-
because not only did you leave the beaver alive but unconscious, but also the badger just ran away, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he knows what happened.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they're probably going to spin it their way.
course they
That
are.
we ambushed
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah, but I will, once we're out of the common room and kind of moseying on, it's like, all right, there are lots. There's like a widespread miasma mob.
Miasma mob.
Okay, perhaps
Yeah,
we shall.
There was a
Try
big
and-
mob, but now
try
it's a
and s-
little mob. Now it's more widespread. Lancelot got them to spread out and cover more ground, but that means that they're spread out and covering more ground. So
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
let's
perhaps-
get a trust fate roll for Clem, Nigel, and Peppa. You can use whoever has the best.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, at least Nigel and Peppa try and sneak.
Yeah. I mean, I think you Clem can't join you in
Okay.
the sneak though. Is the problem?
yeah,
So just think, I have
yeah.
0 on luck,
I have one.
and looks like
You
Clem
would be
has
the
zero.
best. You would be the best.
Yep.
Yeah, I have no luck.
Ugh.
Okay, I have +1 luck.
Hey, at
Cross
least you don't
fingers.
have either.
Let's see if I. Oh, that's a 4.
Okay. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. I would. Yeah. So, and I think even if the two of you both contributed an exhaustion, which neither of you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see. I think. You know what? I think what happens. No, let me think. I'm trying to decide how this should be. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? First thought, best thought here. I think that as you're making your way across town, you're getting closer to the edge of town, and you're going to hear a little bit of like a whooshing sound, and then sort of a thump up on the rooftop nearby, and you look up and you'll see silhouetted against the moon is Rhodia,
Hmm.
and she's going to just look down at you. And I think she's going to look to you all and say, I've been given orders not to lay a finger on any of you. But that doesn't mean I'm letting this go.
Well, if we can't leave, then we can't do the job that Keith had it told
Well,
us to do.
well, nope. And I think Peppa's just going to keep pushing Nigel along and said, "That's fine. You can hold on to it as long as you want to." And
I think she's going to swoop in and be right in your face all of a sudden, Peppa.
uh-huh.
And she's going to say, you tell me what he did.
Mhm.
Oh, what he did, what he did.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, give me a second to think. Just, in the meta.
Okay.
Because I would have been told that Lancelot threw me under the
Mhm.
bus.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Lancelot threw Peppa under the cart.
Yeah, under the cartwheels, and I got rolled over.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking back, what do I know about him?
I mean,
Not a
not
lot.
that much, really. I mean,
Not that much.
no.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
he was a business bird.
Yeah. So here's
And,
the thing. I want you, Lee, to tell me honestly if you think Peppa in this moment has a ready answer for her. Because my instinct is that she doesn't.
I don't think she does.
Okay. What I'm going to suggest right now is just that she gets in your face and asks you, like, tell me what he did, and you kind of look taken aback and hem and haw and don't answer right away, and then she just goes, I knew it, and flies away.
Lovely.
Oh boy.
Hmm.
Oh boy.
Man, Christiana, boy, do you weave a tangled web.
Twisted knife in
Well,
the
see,
back.
that's why we love this game.
Yeah.
That's why we
No,
love playing
that's a
with
good thing.
Christiana's-
It's not, I'm not complaining. I'm not
Mhm.
complaining. I'm just like, wow.
She is a fantastic storyteller.
Yeah. And
All the love to the GM in the chat.
Yes.
All right, so as you do not encounter any other resistance or witnesses as you make your way out to the the prearranged meeting point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, anyway,
Oh.
when we meet up with Arvin and Lancelot, Nigel will share
Arvin's still
the
trying
plan
to
of
sub the plan.
yeah. Well, we'll get away from open area, and then Nigel will share the idea of the smuggler meetup. I figure between them already engaging in illegal activity, the list that I'm sure they will want to be safe, and Lancelot's words, we would be able to secure at least some distance away.
Border passage out.
I mean, at the
Yeah.
very least, crossing the river,
Mhm.
Yes.
because that's really the hard part.
Mhm.
I was not looking forward to heading south to the Iron Vein side of the river and
Mhm.
crossing there. That was not something I was looking forward to.
Yeah, that would have involved.
Well, I mean,
Violence.
Again.
I would have at least,
All right.
you know, I, you know, I could probably make it across this river after some sleep, but I don't think any of you could have made it as easily.
Oh, yeah. It's a wide river, so
It's a-
um,
Yeah.
so let's head to that rendezvous.
Okay.
All right. So
Piracy.
I think as you head to this, the timing has worked out in the sense that you are advance of the time that is listed there. But as you are getting close to the location,
Mhm.
the what the list says is that it's a pickup. Excuse me, a pickup, which
Okay.
means
That
that
somebody has stashed goods there, and it's going to get picked up.
well, stashed goods and potentially there might be people there, right?
Right.
You don't really know. So the question is,
Right.
as you get close to that location, what are you doing?
I think that Lancelot is in the lead, and not making any bones about the fact that he knows something's going on. He's just going to kind of walk up.
Okay.
Um, and if there's guards or somebody like that handy, he's going to just like, "Good evening, gentlemen. Nice night for a camp out in the wilderness."
Okay. Yeah, I think that you do see that there is basically one big crate that looks like it's about 3 foot square on one side and then 6 feet long.
Okay.
And then a couple of smaller bundles.
Okay.
And there you see one person who is just sitting on the big crate, smoking there's cigarettes.
A cheroot.
Or
Mhm.
yeah, sure, just like a hand rolled cigarette, just
Right.
sitting there. And then as you approach, they certainly they throw it down and draw a sword, and they look at you like, "What are you doing here?"
Well, just so happens that in my companions and my peregrinations, we came across some
What?
wanderings.
Oh, okay. Why didn't you say that?
Sorry, my apologies. We came across some documentation as to times and places for you folks making a pickup. And quite frankly, being that we are free market believers, we were hoping to piggyback a little and get a ride across the river in a very discreet manner. So we're hoping to hang out and hand over the timetable that we've gotten, because you wouldn't want that falling into the wrong hands. And we help you, you help us, and everybody's happy.
Sure. Make a persuade an NPC roll. That's roll with charm.
Remember how I said the dice sometimes betray me? Snake eyes.
Oh dear. Oh dear. So what is your charm? So it's
My charm is +3, so that's a
Okay,
total of 5.
So what that
Now-
means is that
If somebody could help me, we could get up to. If 2 people could
if
help me,
two
we could get up to
people,
7.
yeah.
I can help you.
Okay. So it looks like our Peppa and Arbin both have exhaustion to spare. You can get it up to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you chime in when it looks like the first thought that this guy has is that the
Maybe
cover's blown. We need to abort
deal
the
with
whole
these
thing.
people.
Yeah.
Maybe they start to draw weapons, and Arbin,
Arby
like,
steps forward. It's like, yeah, the whole
Yeah.
martial approach, hand on the sword,
yeah, it's like maybe that's not such a
let's-
good idea.
let's talk this rationally. friends.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
And what does
And
Peppa
also-
do?
It's like, look, we got this off of the Corvid conspiracy. So we're just handing it in. All you have to do is take us across the river. We haven't even mentioned it to anybody. And all you have to do is take us across the river. No fuss, no muss. The paper's yours, and we go on our merry way.
So on a 7 to 9, they aren't sure. So I think what he says
Um,
is,
Can I also
Maybe.
add something? Maybe not
Well,
necessarily.
we need to make it a tent in order to make it
I
a
know,
big
but-
success. So yeah.
I
I mean,
not
if
sure
you
it's
want
gonna make a
to, if you want to
difference.
just add a grace note to the conversation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
won't make
I
a big
also
difference.
have some information that the counter in the city would like to know that would maybe solve some of the problems. I know the identity of one troublemaker who knows the identity of another, and there's a poisoning issue in the city that they can, questioning of them could help solve. And I'd happily provide that as part of passage.
So this guy's listening to all of this. This is he's a loon.
Okay. Woo-hoo!
Yeah. So all right. So let me. You know what? Let me see this list.
I hand it over.
All right.
It's like, here, this is what we found.
He's looking at it, and he is looking alarmed as he reads it, and he just said, "Where did you get this?"
Up in Wind Gap Refuge, it was in the possession of Rhodia and her boy toy.
Yeah,
What's his name?
Pruitt.
Clem's
Pruitt, Rhodia
Now,
and
these-
Pruitt.
Pruitt.
Yeah.
Clem speaks up and says, "If it helps, the one who's had this is no longer a problem.
Oh, Rhodia is still a problem, but
All right.
But she's not your problem. She's our."
Okay. Well, listen. This have you not shown this to anybody else?
no,
Nope.
nope.
Okay. Well,
Nobody's
that's
seen it.
good. So here's the thing. I can't promise you a ride. You're gonna have to convince the skipper when the ship arrives. But
We can wait
You
here.
can wait here.
Okay. That's
Okay.
all we asked.
All right. So I think you're expecting the ship to arrive somewhere in the next hour or so. So
Mhm,
I
mhm.
wonder how is the next hour or so spent?
Lancelot's going to play the banjo.
Okay. Nice.
Not loud. He doesn't want to like advertise our position, but he's going to,
Mhm.
pluck it, and he's kind of picking out the melody for the end team's theme song.
Mhm.
Nigel would like to take Arvin to the side and say
Okay.
something. Well, we still have some time of peace. Your past coming to light
Yes.
made me realize that I should share this with you. I haven't been entirely honest about why I am here in the woodland.
You're not fleeing a
I'm-
marriage as well as
No,
Clem,
no.
are you?
I am looking for someone. And I
Whom
pull
are you-
from the back of my book a piece of paper with a drawing of a very handsome chinchilla. This his name is James. He was my boyfriend back home, and he left one day saying with no warning, or all he said that he was on that there was just a note that said that he's going to the woodlands, and I want to at least make sure he's okay.
You care about him deeply. How long were you together?
Several years.
A deep relationship then. I can see why you'd want to find him and see if he's all right, especially of the son. You had no inkling that he was going to do this. He just up and left.
Yes.
Well then we should be on the lookout for him. I've seen chinchillas. Hopefully I have not seen this James and missed him and before you brought this to me. Appears we all have pasts that we're running from or running to in this party.
And in the meta,
Mhm.
did Nigel knew that he was fleeing Clem was fleeing a marriage, right? Like in Iron Vein, the people he met that
Yeah, I think you might have intuited. I don't think they said
Okay.
it just straight out, but
Okay.
they said things that certainly, like
Okay,
Lee
yeah.
was saying, that she guessed that that's what they were talking about.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
it makes
'cause-
sense that you could have figured it out from what they said, but I don't
Yeah.
think my intention was that they didn't say straight up.
Okay. Yeah. From the river folk we tangled with in Iron Vein, I assumed that it was a marriage that Clem was running from, and I guess I was right. So I guess we all know that now.
Now you brought me aside to tell me this privately. Do you not want the others to know whom you're looking for?
Well, I just wanted to tell someone, and it was your connection that made me want to tell. Yeah, I don't mind if the others find out. I just want to use this opportunity.
We have a good relationship, and I thank you for confiding in me first with this. And I guess I'll be on the lookout for chinchillas. I'll look at
Thank
the
you.
image again and commit it to Hawkeye memory. Okay,
Hawkeye memory.
Hawkeye memory. I mashed that one up. I know.
Mm.
Sorry.
No,
Oh.
that's all right. I'm just thinking that would be fun to make that a move.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll just kind of pat him on the back and then go back to the group.
Anyone else? I think that the loon, Lancelot, at first is extremely wary that your banjo is too loud for what is supposed to be waiting to be the
Clandestine.
smuggler ship. But at the same time, I think you find that, like, he can't help himself. He wants you to keep playing. That it's like I think there's a moment as you're playing, and you're playing quietly, and you're just kind of picking along, and I think therere's a moment where you catch him like wiping his eye a little bit, like you've touched him. There's something
Wow,
about this that
okay.
is
Wow.
got him.
Okay.
I just in my head, I just see him. Why are there so many songs
It's
about
about
rainbows?
rainbows.
Yeah.
Well, at least you went with Kermit and not Steve Martin, so I'm fine. Those are the two banjo players that I'm aware of. So
Mhm.
it
Clem
certainly
is
isn't
going
Bella
to-
Fleck. That's for damn sure.
Clem is going to just work on his shell because his shell is
Mhm.
wrecked. It is stuck.
Sure. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
just going to work on his shell.
Right. So
Yeah.
you've got the repair move, and so essentially when you repair, so it's not destroyed. You filled all the wear, but it wasn't destroyed. So you don't need to match a condition. But when you're repairing damaged personal equipment, you can basically spend depletion or value 1-for-1 to clear boxes of wear.
He's down inside
Oh.
hammering out the dents are gonna
Yeah.
hammering out. Ding 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 ding.
Peppa would like to help. Like if he's doing the inside of the shell, Peppa will help. And do well. No, I don't have repair, so I can't.
Oh,
but
I've
Peppa
got-
would have
Well,
would like to help.
I think for flavor, what I would like to suggest is that the shell, Clem's all pulled inside. The shell's kind of like on the round end, and you just see the holes where he's pulled his head and arms and legs in. But there's a bunch of tools laid out nearby, and every so often Clem will stick out a hand and say, "Wrench, And then Peppa can hand it to him, and it just pulls it inside.
Yeah. And for the
Smell
most
it.
part,
Yeah.
for the most part, they're doing the BC turtle and bird imitation.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like, actually, no, I don't need to because I don't have any exhaustion done. Okay.
Well, I've
That's
got I've got depletion to spare, so I can repair all the whole thing.
Well, yeah. So like that you Lancelot is doing fine because he skipped that whole fight.
Yeah. mhm,
Yeah.
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 then-
Oh, so just to clarify for newer viewers or listeners, Clem has got the inside of his turtle shell kitted out like this is full cartoon mode in the sense that he's got like it is technically speaking using the Tinker playbook. He is carrying a toolbox, but we have just flavored that his toolbox is also his shell. So
So it's more like a workshop.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Was anyone else had business or?
I think, I basically Nigel's just kind of gonna lean against the crane, and just not necessarily sleep, but be like, "Ugh,
So
tired."
as the time goes by, there is a moment where the loon, who is still not given his name, but he'll kind of signal to you, Lancelot, that you should stop for the moment, and he's listening
Okay.
carefully.
Yep. mhm.
And then he kind of sort of wades out into the water a little bit, and he's looking off in the distance. And then he says, like thumbs up, like ship's coming. And then certainly, very quietly, with no motor or anything like that
Mhm.
running, you're hearing the sloshing sounds of a relatively small cargo ship here coming in to this little non-dock but nice little miniature bay here. And as it pulls in, the loon kind of hops up onto the deck and goes inside the little cabin for a quick conversation.
Mhm.
And then he comes out, and he is followed by none other than Captain Tondrick Brickle.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ah.
And he just looks at all of you and says, "Well, isn't this a pleasant surprise?"
The world is full
Hello
of
again.
coincidences.
Was I there when we met Tondrick the last time?
I don't think the
No.
first time, but you
I
were
don't think-
there when he showed up in the
Oh, all right.
in
That's
the
right.
bar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think they would have told you about him.
Yeah.
He just says, "So, I am told by my associate that you all could use a ride across the river."
That's what we're looking for.
Well, this list
Mhm.
is certainly something that we're glad to see in our hands rather than someone else's, although it's a little alarming that it exists in the first place.
Mhm.
Well, we didn't write it.
Someone has slipped up, someone who can't keep things in his head.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But,
Well-
so, what I would like to know from each of you is whether or not a simple trip across the river is all that you're looking for. Given that, I heard about some commotion just as I was leaving, and he looks notably over at Clem.
we are looking for a discreet ride across the river. So
Well, that's the trick, isn't it?
Mhm.
there isn't like a really big hairy guy there too, is there?
Now, let me be clear here. I'm not turning you in. That's not my style. Like, look, I like you all, and it's frankly none of my business who Madame LeBlanc hitches her wagon to. You know, frankly, doesn't sound appealing to me either. I don't blame you. But
Clem, you just from inside of Clem's show, you hear "Darn tootin'."
yeah, besides, I'm not necessarily looking to add my name to the list of people who've gone missing looking for none other than this mysterious turtle with the distinctive shell pattern.
Mhm.
So I guess what I'm asking for is I can give you a ride, and I can give you some assurance on my part that I didn't see nothing.
Mhm.
But what I guess I am requesting is a gratuity. And he's kind of holding out his hand.
Donation.
Arbin, you're the most flush right now.
Yeah, I'm running out of money fast, but yes. So what sort of size of gratuity are we talking about, good sir?
Well, you know, it's not really like the thing to do to name numbers, right? Like, I think that you give me what you think is fair and help us get those crates on this ship. I'm not too worried about the details. Consider
Okay.
it an act of good manners.
Oh boy.
That sounds fair to me, Arbin.
Yeah. Look at the group. Look at my purse. Whimper.
Well, since he's putting us to work as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
that does. Yep.
Yeah.
So the Arbin, you've seen that graph with the guy with the equations going in front of it. Said, let's
Yeah.
Arbin for a moment. Like,
Aye. before Arbin hands
spits
over
out a
money,
number.
Nigel will walk up and say, "There is a certain matter of bad wheat that has been, or bad flour that has been going around town."
You
And-
know, I heard about that from
Yes.
your fox friend here earlier this evening.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I would like to let you know that there is a young Wolverine named Kellen who has an otter friend
Hmm.
that knows enough about it that he wanted to hide, that he was willing to lose his shirt in order to not be asked about it.
Interesting. You know what? Nigel, right?
Yes.
Given that I am currently on my way out of Pinehorn, I don't think I'll have a whole lot of use for that information right away. However, nice to tuck that in my chest pocket just in case I get pinched at some point.
Okay.
Arbin finally figures out his calculations, reaches into his pouch, kind of turns away from the others because it has to be discreet and we're not being crass about this, and will slip 3 coins into his palm.
He looks at he says, "It's very nice doing business with you all," and he slips one of those coins to the loon, and it's like, well, shall we?
Yep. So let's get started.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's get started.
All right.
Yep,
And Lancelot immediately grabs the lightest of the bags that's ready to go on the ship.
Yeah. Like pretty much everything is fine. Like it does. I think that the bundles do feel like they are swords
Mhm.
and
Uh-huh.
weapons
Mhm.
kind of wrapped in bunting. You don't know what's in the crate, but it's pretty heavy. And given that you're not at a dock, it's a huge pain in the butt having to wade through like the muck and the mud of the shallow part of the river to get it up to. They've
Yeah.
got a winch, so like if you can keep it from getting in wet until you get it up to the side of the ship, they got a winch that they can load it up to it. But
And Nigel
that's the hard part.
offers to go to wade in first.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah. And
Uh,
as the weight comes off him, you can see him kind of moving his feet in the or moving his legs and says, like reminds me of home a little bit. and then goes back out.
So I think it's a pain. It's annoying, but it's not difficult in a way that requires any rolls.
Mhm.
But so I think as you get everything aboard, and he says, can't say I've got a cot for you all, but you're welcome to sleep on the deck. Seems like a nice enough night.
Mhm.
But so I guess the next question, I suppose, is across the river could mean a lot of things. What do you have in mind?
Down at our
Would you like
what
to?
would be most
We
convenient?
can
Would
briefly put up the map here.
Yeah.
What would be
Mhm.
most convenient is the down by the bridge between Sundell and Iron Vein on the Sundell side.
Hmm.
That would be the ideal. Or a little bit upstream from that if you're not interested in being observed, dropping us off,
Or dealing with the duchy.
or dealing with the duchy,
Well, our next major destination is Alaboro, so that sounds like that's right on our way.
All right.
Excellent.
Yeah,
All right.
we're gonna we'll be getting down there somewhere around noon tomorrow.
Okay. Um,
And
Yeah.
Nigel will find a spot on the deck and just fall right
Nope.
asleep.
Capybara
Mhm.
sleepiness.
Yeah. So I think that you can all get a night's rest, but this is not optimal sleeping
No.
conditions, and it's
No.
also stressful and in the middle of the night. So I think you're only going to all be able to clear one box of exhaustion.
And not being on the edge of passing out will be nice.
Yeah. And I think Peppa, you are going to over the night you're going to lose your drugged effect. So your finesse will return to normal. But
Yay.
you no longer have those extra 2 boxes of exhaustion. So make sure
Mhm.
you adjust your current value accordingly.
Yeah. No, I had on the sheets that we were using, I had that marked off as a separate thing, so my exhaustion is still the same.
Right. Okay.
So
So
it was
yes.
just 2 extra boxes that were in a note.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there is probably, once you're sort of waking up and you're a little more coherent, and there's probably a moment where you reflect on the previous evening and then realize, look into your bag where you have 2 more tea bags that have different colored labels. Yeah. But yeah, so I think you're all able to get some sleep, even if it's not the most comfortable, and you awake, seeing the mountains pass by on your right, and on the what? That's port. Port is right.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
port
No,
is
starboard.
Start. Okay.
No,
Yes.
we're heading south. Port is the left. Starboard
Port
is
is
to
the
the right.
left,
Well-
which would be the east. So on the west would
So-
be our right, which is starboard.
Okay. So heading south, the mountains, the green mountains are on your starboard.
Right.
And then you
we're,
see
we're
the-
going to the port
Yeah,
side.
the forests passing by on the port side.
Yeah.
Heading down there, and I think you're up late enough that if you kind of get more or less a full night's sleep, it's going to be not too long before you're, you
Mhm.
can start seeing the bridge up ahead.
Mhm.
And right when he gets, or when everybody else gets up, Nigel will share what he shared with Arbin
Mhm.
with the other 3.
A chinchilla will be as unique as something to see as a capybara. So
That was what I was hoping.
We will definitely keep an eye out.
Thank you.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me either way. But is this person going to be glad to see you or not?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think he intended for me to try and come find him,
Okay.
but I hope he will be happy.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because when we do spot him, if he might not want to see you, then we'd have to jump him. If he might, so how do you want us to when we find him? Do you want to bag over his head, or do you want us to shake his hand?
Shake his hand. And
Okay,
if he and
just that is an important thing to get clear in our line of business.
yes, yes,
Lancelot says, looking directly at Peppa.
That's another conversation I wanted to have. It's like, after having heard about this whole fight,
Yeah.
like, I think we need to invest in some blunt weapons for times when we don't actually want to kill someone. When it's just a Donnybrook and we're convincing them to back off, maybe pulling out the swords and daggers first thing is not the best choice. When we get to Sundell, we're going to have some coin because clearly we have done what we were supposed to do there. And I think we should invest some of that in some slightly less lethal
lethal armament.
Yes.
and
Okay.
Nigel's just.
I mean, just some cudgels that we can pull out to knock heads, rather than pulling the only option be pulling out the bloodletters.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
if it would be cheaper to buy the materials, you give me some time, I can dedicate myself to the purpose of making.
I mean, either way, you know, I mean, quarterstaffs aren't that hard to come by. But let's put it this way. Let's see how much cash we get out of Sundell,
Yeah.
and then we can make some decisions as to what we do. But
Yeah.
basically, if you don't have something like that, let's have that as an option for those sorts of situations, because they clearly came at you not intending to kill anybody, and so
Well, they didn't intend to kill me, but they said if they defended me, then all bets were off for them. And well, I don't like that.
but let's just give ourselves options is what I'm saying.
Okay. I
I
have no problem with that whatsoever.
I do need my sword and armor repaired at some point, Clem. Hopefully the coin from Sundell will help pay for those repairs. The sword is looking a little ragged, as is my armor at this point.
Well, if you can give me some time to forge and some dedicated time to use my toolbox, I should be able to do just that in my depletion, because I can do three things. I can dedicate myself to something, which takes us time, or the GM can tell me it'll take a certain amount of time, and we just have to wait that period.
Yeah.
Or I can't reach it because we don't have the right time or the material, stuff like that.
Yeah. That's a Sundell conversation.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
All right. So I think Tondrick will just kind of say, so my sleeping beauties, anywhere up on here, or
Yeah, this looks just like a fine place. It's within sight of the bridge. We can make it to the road from here without too much trouble. This will be just fine. Any place
so much.
along here that looks good to you? I mean, you're the captain.
well, you know what? They always say honor among thieves, but it's been nice to demonstrate some honor amongst smugglers and vagabonds.
And yeah, take care of yourself. Maybe we can see each other again sometime.
Be
I-
careful out
I'm
there.
sure. Oh, I'm sure we'll see him again.
That's just how things tend to go.
Yep.
Well, you know what they say about Tondrick Brickle.
He's not
He's-
fickle.
Yeah! He goes up to give Peppa a high five.
High five him right back.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, he brings the boat up, close enough that you can kind of wade through
Way to
some
shore.
reedy shallows to get up to shore, and you know, they sail on further down the river,
All
going
right.
under the big supports of the stone bridge.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
So,
so now the question is, now that you have reached the other side of the river, there is a
Mhm.
path leading straight from the bridge to Sundell, or you can travel through the forest as you like.
I think we're gonna take the path.
The path, the
Yeah.
The path.
The
Yep.
path.
path.
Okay, so when you travel along the path, you can travel at a relaxing pace, and everyone will clear 3 exhaustion, but you're going to spend some depletion and have a -1 to the roll. Travel at an average pace, clear less exhaustion, you mark less depletion and no modifier to the roll, or travel safely, quickly under the radar, where you have to spend some depletion and so on. Or travel urgently fast, although it sounds like that probably would not be.
I think
Relaxed.
yeah, because we got a lot of exhaustion in the party
Mhm,
and not a whole lot of depletion. So
mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the band
Even-
collectively must mark a total of 2 depletion.
I'll
No.
take
I'll go.
that.
I'll take that.
Okay.
I'll
Does
take
this now does this, since we're on the path, this doesn't count for using forager, does it? Or are we still technically in the woods?
No, because forager is specifically that you're in the woods where you can actually forage stuff instead of just
Mhm.
literally going along the path.
Right.
Yeah.
The traveler extraordinaire, I think, also specifically to when you travel along the path, you can always give +1 to the roll or clear an extra 2 exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Given-
I don't think you need to do that, right? Or
I don't need to clear exhaustion. I only have 1 exhaustion.
You'll
but
clear
there's
that.
and I
plenty
can
of other
give plus
people
1.
who could use the extra exhaustion.
well, no. So what she can do instead of
is
clearing
for
2
herself.
exhaustion, everyone clears 3 exhaustion for
Okay.
travel at the relaxing pace. And if
Mhm.
she's marking the
Okay.
2 depletion, then that works too. But she can give a +1 to the roll, so it would be a flat roll instead of a -1.
Mhm.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so who would like to make the roll? If we like it to be Peppa, just straight 2d6.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Pepper should do it.
That's an 11.
Okay, good job. So on a 10 plus, the trip is uninterrupted and quick, but you are, you make good time despite using the travel to recover somewhat.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm. All right.
And so, yeah, as you make your way into Sundell, are you just strolling on in?
I think we want to kind of give it a moment to have a look and see if anything immediately jumps out as having changed
Okay.
on
Yeah.
our way in. Also, I'd like to point out that Nigel and Arben are injured, and that we may want to do a healing move before we go in.
Yeah. Well, and it makes sense that you might have on your way anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be able to clear my injury because I have Hardy as a move. Whenever time passes, you journey to a new clearing, you can clear 2 injury boxes automatically. So
right.
I will
Okay.
be
So
fine.
Neitzel's the only one
it's
who's
Nigel's one needs
who
it.
needs
Yeah.
some healing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I give. How many does he have? One.
I
Yes,
have
2.
2 injury.
Hmm.
I could heal one of those because I've got my toolbox. My toolbox.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
so the one of the things that's established is that if you can a fellow vagabond can clear 1 injury by treating you.
Okay.
Okay, so with my assorted medicine from my toolbox and that, could I do both?
I think if you mark 2 depletion, then yeah.
Well, I can only mark 1. So
Okay, well,
I
yeah.
will mark a depletion on your behalf. I will hand over the supplies for that.
Okay.
we need to go sell some stuff.
Well,
My-
hopefully we're in for a payday here
Mhm.
because that's
Yeah.
our
My big,
Yeah.
Yeah.
my big pockets are now empty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
All right, so I get 2 questions
Oh, yeah.
as part of
I'm
my
just gonna
traveler
hand you-
extraordinaire.
I don't want you to see you depleted, so I'm just gonna hand you an extra one so that you can clear one box.
Mhm.
I'm just, I'm in fairly good shape that way. And
Sure.
Thanks.
We'll do the same.
Okay. So I think that you can. So remember, you can ask questions, but it is based on what you remember from your last time through.
Yeah.
And so I mean, if you want, like,
more up-to-date
you know,
information. yeah.
so, but you can certainly ask questions. Like, you're not going to have any information that wouldn't be based on what you remember from the last time you were here.
Mhm.
But you can still ask.
Yeah, no, my question is, do we see a larger Marcusate presence?
There has been progress made on the recruiting station that was under construction,
Hmm.
but it is clearly still not finished.
Okay.
There are there are apparently more people working on it.
Okay.
And then some of them look like they might have been soldiers that were sort of drafted into becoming construction.
Hmm.
But it's not dramatic.
Okay.
It's just compared to last time there's more, but it's not, like 5 times as many or anything like that.
Okay. Does anybody else have a question that they want to ask? Because that was really my major question was, all right, well, how much more Marcusate presence is there versus when we left?
Mm-hmm.
This was our town for the plow race, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the plow
Yeah,
race.
the plow race.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh,
Well, I would definitely
What
want to
about-
check in with those folks and see what's happened since we
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But-
just
But-
from the broad view
course,
of the
but-
town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm curious
There
if it's
are-
more
I
militarized.
think, I think
I would-
other than seeing that there's been progress made on the recruiting station and that work is on undergoing, it's on its way. What's the word I'm looking for?
Underway?
Underway.
In
There you go.
progress.
Yes, work is underway. There's not anything really obvious, like from a distance.
Oh, remember, we should probably find out if we're wanted in this town because they had a thief problem the last time we
Yeah.
were
Oh,
here, and that
Vanek.
didn't
Yeah.
go very
Vanek.
well
Yeah.
for one of us.
And you did kind of like
Yeah.
decide to leave more or less, at the break of dawn without really talking to anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
So Peppa might,
Yeah.
or thinking that Peppa might be wanted. Do we see any sign of those automatic plows? The
I mean,
plowing machines? Like,
I think that, like, not at a distance. Like, if you went,
Okay.
you could,
Yeah,
you'd have to
they,
go into
they
town.
suddenly aren't in use everywhere in town.
Right. Yeah. It's not like the
Well-
place is overrun with them now. But yeah. So no, I mean, it's a fair question. I'm just saying you can't really tell from a distance. You'd have to go into town to see that.
and what I was thinking is like, look into a field and see someone on one of the plows just, pedaling away and just, or
There aren't Marcusate guards everywhere. I think it's safe to go in.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we should probably avoid that secretary until we have a conversation with the mayor.
All
The
right.
mayor.
Well,
mayor
so where
was-
would you be heading first?
That
Well,
would-
I mean, the mayor is the person who we talked to about screwing up the duchy,
Hmm.
right? He was the one that we had basically contracted with to
No, it was the
No.
farmer lady, the Badger farmer, Greta
Yeah, so-
Cumberly.
Greta Cumberly. So let's go talk to her.
yeah, that would be at the Lumpy Tuber.
Well, so yeah, that is where, like, the farmers circle, which is kind of sort of an unofficial town council, sort of hangs out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. So
Yeah, so,
So-
you I think as you make your way into town, you do get some of the passerby giving you a little bit of weird looks. It's a little bit like, it seems a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, but not necessarily hostile. But you get a couple of people, like, give you a wide berth.
okay.
Oh. Take the money.
We are we are vagabonds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, let's
Mhm.
head to if it's is it have we like time wise have we is it like the evening after we're dropped off, or is it the next
Um,
day, or what
well,
time of day is it?
let's what given that you were traveling at a relaxed pace, I think you could have chosen, right? You could have decided
Okay.
to make camp and then paced yourself to arrive whenever you would have wanted.
Yeah, let's arrive at dusk
Okay.
so that the people we want to talk to are going to be in the lumpy
Mhm.
tuber.
Sure. All right.
So
So I think you make your way in, and this is a you know this is a uh, low key country tavern sort of place, not like a
mhm,
big
mhm.
rowdy bar. But so you make your way in, and I think that there is a little bit of it's not quite full Western style honky tonk piano suddenly stops playing, right? But there is definitely like you come in, there's like an awareness, like, and people like know who you are, and I think you're seeing quite a variety of expressions.
Oh
Um,
boy.
but one of the people over there at the table, kind of with the old folks holding court, you do see
Mhm.
Greta Cumberly, who sees you, eyes kind of widen in surprise, and she kind of lifts herself up out of her chair and then comes on over to greet you and just says, "Well, I will say I wasn't sure if we were going to see you lot again."
Well, here we are, and I think that if the rumors have gotten here from Iron Vein that should have been, I think you will agree that we have succeeded at our mission.
Well, I sure would like to hear the whole story about that, because some of what
Oh,
we are hearing is a little fantastical.
it was quite the tale. Tell you what, uh, some so a beverage or two would probably loosen my tongue a bit, and we can tell you the whole thing.
Oh
All right.
Lancelot.
Well, I think we can arrange that, but I think in fact, she'll kind of like glance over to like a young rabbit behind the bar and just kind of
Uh-huh.
and gives
Like the
just a
music.
sign that seems to be understood, and then the rabbit just kind of says, "All right, everybody, I'm sorry, but we've got some Farmer Circle business. We're going to need everybody who's not part of the Farmer Circle to please, you know, old story about you. Don't have to go home, but you can't stay here."
Oh God.
And starts shooing everyone out, and then like the folks sitting over at that table. There's a couple people over in other corners that kind of go over into the table, and they clearly sit and they're waiting. And I think Greta, as this is kind of happening, is going to lean into you and just say, here's the part that we don't necessarily need to get into with the whole Farmer Circle. Um, Bad news. Well, for us, I suppose. I don't know how much it affects you necessarily, but here's what happened: is that Seed Vault was robbed, uh, emptied
I
out.
remember hearing about that.
It was
Mhm.
emptied out, and a lot of folks, pretty sure you all did it. But here's the thing: I don't even know if you all remember, but that last morning before you all head out, you all told me about how you thought Nomi was up to no good. Just so happens she disappears the same time Vault's robbed.
Mhm.
Hmm.
People thought,
Hmm.
oh no, poor Nomi got taken by the burglars, but taken with all her nice things in her house packed up nicely in the bags.
Mhm.
And just so happens that we stopped having mysterious squirrel thief business
Uh-huh.
after that too. But here's the thing: in order to speak up on your all behalf, It has become more or less public knowledge what y'all did on my behalf.
Okay.
And I don't think anyone here in town's too worried about that. But I doubt that we've been able to keep that from the ears of the Marquisate.
Aha.
Yeah.
Well, that will complicate things, but you know, that's how it goes.
Yeah, well, obviously, you might imagine that having that seed vault get robbed is problem.
Hmm.
So keep that context in mind. That I think most of these folks probably are persuaded that you all didn't do that. But that's going to color everything we talk about from here.
Right. Right. Well, let me set the record straight about what happened in Iron Bay. I'm not
So
sure what stories you've heard.
she'll say, I think this is the part that you know, the entire circle wants to hear.
So so I will I'll invite everybody to sit down, but I'm going to keep on my feet and in fact going to stick one leg up on a chair to you know, take a storyteller's pose and launch into the description of our adventures in Iron Vein. And unlike the other things, these are the people that these are our employers. I'm not leaving anything out. You know, meeting the stag god, taking the little statuette back to town, the fights back and forth with the Dutchy soldiers, the assassination attempts. I don't say anything about why anybody wants to catch Clem. That part I leave out, but that's not part of their business. But yeah, that whole, you know, multiple raids out of the wilderness into town to accomplish this, that, and the other, and then you know, sneaking out in the middle of the night after having dropped off our magical cargo, and then well, at that point you probably heard what happened after that. We didn't see it in person because we were on our way out, but yeah, they're none too happy with us in Iron Vein these days.
Yeah, so I think that as you're telling the whole story, certainly, you know, there's a question, first of all, of like, are people going to believe you? Because some of the parts of the story are pretty fantastical. You get the sense that there's probably a couple of these people that don't at all like that you associated with any of that kind of stuff. Like
with the
like
magical forest
magical
creatures.
stuff like that. Like, and that sounds scary and dangerous. And
right,
and
well,
the sort
but
of people who would do that. You know.
Yeah, but we were also like, this is not something we asked to do.
Well,
right?
yeah,
So
but
this is Arbin's fault
but you
as it were.
participated is the point, right? And
Right.
so the thing is, it's a little bit like, you know, the sewing circle is asking how it went when you did, you know, you were going to do the bake sale, and you're saying, well, and then we also had a local Bigfoot contribute a batch of cookies, you know, and it's like there's a little bit of a, you know, some people are going to say, what are you talking about? That's crazy. I'm not sure I believe this story. But you're also going to have some people say, we don't want people who can serve Bigfoot cookies. That's a bad example, but you get the point. The point being, just some people, you've essentially admitted to participating in what's like witchcraft, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we kind of participated in that in the same way that that someone who falls into a river participates in a potential drowning.
Well, yes, but yes, except that also what you did was strike a bargain with a mysterious magical wood spirit that resulted in the deaths of many people.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, like that is what happened.
Oops.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So there you get the feeling that some of the circle are just like the fact that it turned out okay this time is almost incidental compared to the idea that you all are people who do things like that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, they are nonetheless impressed. I think in a lot of respects, I
Mhm.
think that, just the rumors and information that they've heard bears out a lot of pieces of your story. They are impressed and everything. And so I think, though, that as they're discussing amongst themselves, um, because, Greta is advocating on your all behalf, but, there wasn't a specific number agreed on.
No, it wasn't.
And there's also a lot of people are basically saying, we were making a lot of decisions on the basis that we thought we had this big seed vault that we could kind of have as a backup and a bargaining chip and a leverage point, and we don't have that anymore.
Mhm.
And not only that, but there's still some concern that like, what you get a sense of hearing them talk about this, right? Like they're not keeping it from
Mhm.
you, but they're mostly talking to each other at this point.
Mhm.
The sense that you get is they're very happy that the expansion plans of the Grand Duchy have been so stymied. But it's also true that the Marquisate has had a variety of setbacks of its own
Mhm.
that are putting it simultaneously in a position where it does not really have the resources available to just make it an easy let's just move in and just
Mhm.
occupy, but also they're kind of extra desperate right now for needing what Sundell can provide. And so in that respect, they are there's a little bit of um, they are hoping and thinking. Several of the people in the farmer circle think Marquisate moving in is inevitable, and all the better than to try to get as good a deal as you can when that happens.
Mhm.
And there's a little bit of a sense of what people are worried that like if the Marquisate doesn't like you, then if they give you too much, then that's bad, looks bad. And certainly, I think Greta argues against that, but they're saying you're already on their blacklist. Because it was revealed essentially that she,
Mhm.
deliberately acted against them. But overall, what they come around to, you get the sense that this is less than it might have been in some previous circumstances, but nonetheless, amongst them, they're providing your group with 25 value.
Oh,
There we go. That is
That's
that is
generous.
entirely
generous.
yes, that is entirely fair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with that.
Yes.
Now I
It
get
is, but it is 25 value and a request that you
move along.
make your appearance on the streets of Sundell be as limited as possible.
Yes.
well, we're gonna have to pull up that map.
Yeah, we that is actually part of our plan. We were planning on moving on from here after picking this up. We would like to buy some supplies and things.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
I think we can discuss some of that the intricacies of that offline, but I think we'll go ahead and potentially leave that that offer as it stands. But where it's basically saying like we will give you all of this, which is a lot, but then you need to go. But
I would
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
No. I just wanted to point out to the players that a blunted, bulky, common quarterstaff with 2 wear costs 3 value. So that's just.
Yeah.
Or, and if you didn't want to go with bulky, you could make it a truncheon and it would be 4 value. So
So looking at if you want me to make you anything, or if you want me to
Well, so
improve.
I'm going to suggest that we can discuss some of that
offline, yeah,
offline.
off stream.
But in the meantime, though, let's talk a little bit about session moves. And some of the further implications of where you go from here can occur afterward. But so first of all, Nigel, you have ambition, which is increase your. Well, first before we do this, I think that all of you here are gonna gain. I think you've already had some denizen gain from this whole stuff with the Iron Vein, so you're not getting a lot more for this. You're going to get another 1 each, or
Okay.
multiplied as applies to your various things. But also you're going to all get 2 notoriety with the denizens and with the Riverfolk Company.
Okay, so that would cause the notoriety. So the multiplication would cause notoriety to increase by 4.
Yep. Which
So-
might mean that it that would produce a lowering of your modifier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and so that's a reflection on to all of you being implicated in an alibi that did not hold up with an attack. It's all complicated and messy, but it's the sort of you've got some notoriety as people who come to town and violence happens.
yeah,
Like I said, folks.
blunted weapons.
So okay, so you can repeat that again on what we're changing for reputation.
So you are gaining 1 prestige and 2 notoriety, unless you have a thing that doubles that. And I think that
Right.
Arbin and Nigel together have one. of
Yeah,
those,
we do.
right?
So our prestige doubles and our notoriety doubles.
Yeah.
You gain 2 and gain 2
Gain-
prestige and 4 notoriety.
Yeah.
So for the Riverfolk and the Corvette 2 each, right?
Right. And so you do track notoriety and prestige separately because
Yep.
again, it's like you can have reputation for doing good things and for doing bad things. Like they
So
Wait.
let's see. I go to 6, and then that. Oh, so okay. So when I clear notoriety,
Mhm.
when I reach a number, but the prestige number could still remain.
You looks like you're doing that to the Corvid conspiracy, not to the denizens.
Oh,
This
oh, yeah.
denizens.
Yeah, I got the double. Yeah, I double. Oh, yeah, but then the notoriety is to.
Notoriety and
denizens.
prestige are
Oh, okay. That's
Also
what I meant.
denizens and Riverfolk Company.
Okay, then the
Oh.
Riverfolk Company. Okay.
okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so that's okay. So then this becomes 6, and that's going to make the Riverfolk Company -1 and clear it.
Yeah.
Eek.
Incidentally, it's 2, by the way. So
2, 4. Yeah, 2 becomes 4.
yeah,
Okay.
and part of that is because not only was there the one incident here, but there's also the I'm getting sorry. Okay, there's also the previous
Mm.
group that people knew were looking for Clem and they went missing in Iron
Yeah.
Vein.
Mhm.
So there's increasingly like, oh well, maybe we think we know what happened to them now.
Mm.
But in any case, though, let's talk about the session moves. So, ambition, increase your reputation with any faction. I don't know if you increased it. Did you, Nigel?
well, increase and then decrease.
So you increased it, but then decreased it again.
Yeah.
I'll say
That
that counts
counts.
because you did increase it. You just
Okay.
it lost it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you still, you get the ping anyway. And then also
Yay.
development, contribute to a lasting development or improvement to an entire clearing. I think not in
I'm okay
the
with Yeah.
well, you know what? I don't know. I mean, I think ultimately it's for the same actions. So even though we're sort of resolving now that the things that you did also affected Sundell, it's not from a separate activity.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's fine.
for Arbin, folk hero, I don't think you get folk hero this
Nope.
time.
I don't.
But Wanderlust you do. You finished
do.
a journey to a clearing.
Yep.
Lancelot, you also finished a journey to a clearing.
Mhm, mhm.
Anti-militarist, you didn't really do that this time.
Not this time, no.
Yeah. Clem, you definitely got wanted. Got a bounty on your head. You would advance when you defeat or evade capture by a serious threat trying to cash in on your bounty.
Yeah, I figure with until we actually see Iron Vein, I don't think I could get mysteries, but because of because we haven't seen what happened with the forest.
Well, I thought I gave you that when you first got the when Bronwyn told you what happened.
Did we?
I think I did. I think I did for that one. But in any case, Peppa, you also obviously get Wanderlust.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I think we're going to leave it there, and obviously some of this miscellaneous business will get worked out. And I think honestly, you'll have some opportunity to decide how you want to proceed with some of this, just in the sense that while you have potentially got some bad heat from the Marcusate if it's known that you burned Elaine's tent down, for example, and got documents there. Like that's not great. But also, hey, a team that did what you did in Iron Vein is not necessarily the Marcusate's enemy. Right. So a lot could depend on how you guys proceed from here. But you also then did take a job from the Corvid conspiracy to murder a Marcusate count. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't necessarily have to do that.
it's true. It's true that you don't have to, but there will probably be consequences if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consequences.
Mhm.
Do or
Consequences
don't.
either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be honest, if we happen to tell them who's hired us to do that, or that we know of the plot,
Mhm.
might grease some wheels.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the Corvid conspiracy loves when people
Reveal
tell
their
on them,
secrets,
right? You know, like
yeah.
that's their favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the Marcusate really loves when people go in and assassinate.
Anyway,
Nobles, yes.
Anyway.
anyway, we're gonna leave it there for this time. But thank you everyone for listening or watching, and we will be back with more Root on so many levels.
So many levels.